Hello there, everybody, and thank you so much for joining me on this here live Twitch stream as we are getting everything set up, ready to go. For the few people who've been here before and seen this, I've actually done this stream before. However, I wasn't quite happy with it, and I have a few new friends that I really like to try to get involved, and we'll see if they're available tonight to join us for a tier ranking of the Generation 1 Pokemon. Before I do that, I always give a shout out to something. You see the green and gold jersey here today. Just want to shout out. I always give a shout out at the beginning of a stream of some kind, even if it's teeny tiny. Shout out to Aaron Rodgers. Just got traded to from the Green Bay Packers to the New York Jets. Even though it took me a while to come to Aaron Rodgers as a fan, brought a world of happiness to my home state and to an area that's very fond of me, Green Bay, Wisconsin. And made our franchise a better place and made Wisconsin a better place, really, as I was growing through it. So, thank you to Aaron. Thank you for everything you did from this Green Bay Packer fan. Best of luck with the Jets, and hopefully, if we meet in the Super Bowl, be kind to us. Please. But thank you so much. Now, beyond that, let's get to the Pokemon, the reason you guys are here. So, I'm going to be ranking all the Gen 1 Pokemon. As I'm doing that, my criteria are pretty simple. I'm going to go design is a huge one. In-game might influence it a little bit. And then personal preferences. Those are really what I'm going for. Obviously, all these are personal preference, but we're going to try doing it that way. So, by all means, let's begin. So, as we go to our tier list, you can see we have S plus all the way at the top. That is reserved for the best of the best. I will be moving these guys around a little bit, and they go S, A, B, C, D, and F is the worst. I do believe there are F tier Pokemon. They're not very many, but there are some, and I am going to run through that as much as possible. But I'm going to officially stop the Pokérap and get to what we are here for. So we are here at Tier Maker, and let's begin. We're going to start off strong. Bulbasaur is an S. Bulbasaur is a perfect beginning to the Pokemon franchise. You don't really know what Bulbasaur is. Is it a toad? Is it a frog? Is it an onion? Is it a dinosaur? Nobody knows. But you know it's a Pokemon. Color contrast is there just so subtly. I love all the different. There's 3 different shades of green, which is really creative usage. And then the red eye used well. Red eye balanced improperly immediately looks evil or bad. Evil can be good. Bad is usually just bad, unless it's intentionally bad. Bulbasaur balances it all really well. Bulbasaur is an S tier Pokemon. I really am a big fan of Bulbasaur, and I think it's a very strong start to the Pokemon franchise. Now, as we keep moving, I'm going to Ivysaur, and I like Ivysaur more than Bulbasaur, honestly. It's going to stay at S, but I'm not entirely sure. I'm not entirely sure, if it's S plus yet. That's going to be reserved for the best of the best. There's part of me that only wants to give that to one Pokemon, but S plus. Shout out to Ace Trainer. If you haven't seen her stuff, go check her out on Twitch. She's phenomenal. She does S plus and S plus plus, I believe. I just wanted to go S plus. Ivysaur. Everything that's good about Bulbasaur is accentuated even more. Ivysaur. The wild leaf design gives a more jungle look. Very fun. The bluer tone and the green, really kind of nice to the design. And I love the pinkish red hue of that back bulb opening into this beautiful petaled flower. I think that's absolutely phenomenal. I think Ivysaur is just such a well done Pokemon, and it looks kind of tough. I really appreciate that. Ivysaur's great, so I'm going with Ivysaur at an S. As we are continuing, I should get some music here going, so let me get some music as we are rolling around here through our rankings. I'll go to my trusty Pokemon re-illustrated playlist here, which is all Braxton Burke's on Spotify. Check out that kind of stuff as much as you can. Alrighty, now we go to Venusaur. Venusaur is a tough one for me because it doesn't have the same appeal as the other two, but I still think Venusaur is a very strong Pokemon design. One that I'm a big fan of. I'm going to put Venusaur up at the A category. It becomes a little too monstrous and loses a bit of that just wonderful friendly appeal that Bulbasaur and Ivysaur have for me. However, very very strong. I love that the flower goes crazy here, and it goes from hey it's a bulb flower to it's essentially just a tree on its back, which is really really cool design choices in my opinion. That I'm a really big fan of. As well, I do love the little wart look that's around the neck and the collar section of Venusaur. That's really fun as well. It's a fun design. It's a great design. I just don't know if it's. Now here comes some controversial opinion. Charmander. I like Charmander, but I don't think Charmander is as strong of a design as people like to give it credit for. I think personally, design-wise, it's the weakest of the three starter Pokemon from Kanto, and that is why I'm going to give it a B. Still strong design, still a good grade. Um, really B is positive, C is your mids, D is your low mids to lesser Pokemon, and F is just failure of some kind, in my opinion. That's how I rank it, and S plus is just the creme de la creme. Charmander is a little too simplistic. It's like we designed a fire lizard. Okay, what is it? It's orange and has fire on its tail. Huh. Creative, guys. I understand the limitations of the game back in the day. I understand all that kind of stuff. However, the color contrast doesn't give me a lot, and I think it's on the nose in the wrong way. I like on the nose designs for the most part, actually, if they're done well. I don't think that's actually harmful as long as they're done well. I think there's a little on the nose in the wrong ways, but at the same time, I do appreciate Charmander. It's very cute, it's appealing, and it's definitely what a kid would pick for the most part. I definitely pick Charmander as my first Pokemon. So I understand the people who like it. It just no longer has that appeal to me. For Charmeleon, I think I've come to like Charmeleon pretty much equally as Charmander. I'll put it here for this. What I love is the character development of Charmeleon. Character development is big in a design. Charmeleon looks tough. Charmeleon looks like the kid who's been roughed up, and he's going to rough someone else up because of it. That I really, really appreciate. I love the darker tone, burnt orange, almost this nice Texas orange, if you will. This burnt orange color that Charmeleon has gives it a rougher edge. The more angular face is very nice and appealing because it gives that character development. And that big horn off the top gives a nod of where it's going, but isn't fully there yet. To the point where I'm just thinking character development wise, I'm going to bring Charmeleon up to an A. I think it's in a different tier because the character development of the design is there. And I really, really appreciate that. So I'm going to go Charmeleon A. And Charizard, I'm about to make some people upset. Charizard is not an S plus for me. It's not even an S. I will put Charizard at an A. I'm growing fonder of Charizard now. However, I do think Charizard is an overrated Pokemon. That's part of it. It's a bit on the nose. Big fire dragon. What would you draw? You probably draw Charizard. That's cool. I don't like it as much as Venusaur. I think Venusaur is a much more unique, interesting look. But frankly, it's a super positive grade for me nonetheless because there's a reason it's the second most popular Pokemon there is. I mean, it's really, really hard to justify Charizard being, in scrub territory, even a B tier. It's the second most popular Pokemon, and it gets a constant redo all the time because it is that popular of a Pokemon. And part of that is design. It's a very fun, appealing design for a lot of people. I think it's also very appealing. Typing does throw me off a little bit. I don't why it never got a dragon typing. Glad they fixed that with Mega Evolution. But frankly, at this point, I could. I have Charizard as an A because it is a well-rounded design, but same time, I don't think it's a top tier Pokemon. I'm seeing in the chat, I feel conflicted about a Pokemon being popular being the reason I would rank something low. For the longest time, I avoided saying Sailor Moon was my favorite character because she was the pro tag and Def the most popular. But you know what? Sailor Moon, the best Sailor Scout. Oh yeah, I get it. Just responding your reasoning because I think similarly sometimes. Yeah, I have. You're gonna see something similar with Pikachu. Spoiler alert. That's gonna be. We're gonna take a teeny, teeny, tiny break almost every 25 Pokemon. You'll see Pikachu as the break of my session number one. I part of the thing for me is I don't think Charizard is so special of a design that it justifies the popularity that it has. But in game, it is special. It makes you feel rewarded, and there is a true journey from Charmander to Charizard. I just think Charmeleon does a lot of heavy lifting without a lot of credit, which is why I'd have Charmeleon up at an A, when really I don't know if without that character development whether it's there. Charizard, on the other hand, definitely deserves notes for the appeal. I do love the winding tail look. That is pretty cool. I love the horn look of Charizard. I just don't think personally I can just higher than an A. I don't think Charizard's S or S plus like a lot of people. Moving on to Squirtle though. Squirtle is the subtlety of Squirtle's design is what I really appreciate. I will put Squirtle up at the A category. I like it more than Charmeleon. I like Squirtle more than Charizard, I think. I will put these guys at a dead even heat. I think I still might like Venusaur more than Squirtle. My thing with Squirtle I love is the subtlety of the water typing. Turtles are associated with water to some degree. A lot of the time, the first time we see a turtle is when we're out at a lake or we're out at a pond or whatever. Might be one of the first times you ever see a turtle. That's how I first saw a turtle in real life. And so there's obvious now nods to that without hitting you over the head with water, water, water. But I love the subtle wave look of the tail. It's just very subtle, but it's there. Really appreciate that. I love the color contrast from the shell, two-side shell colors to, the blue color, that blue hue, but it's not like slapping you in the face blue. Really like those notes. It's very fun, subtle design in a lot of ways. I think Squirtle's a great Pokemon. Ooh, this is gonna shock some people. Wartortle S. Yeah, I in the last year I have flipped from I don't like Wartortle to I adore Wartortle. To me, I think Wartortle is one of the most underappreciated designs in all of Pokemon. I really, really do. Um, because all the subtle notes that I like about Squirtle are there in Wartortle, with even more growth notes, and it gets that same tougher look that Charmeleon and Ivysaur. So there's the character development side, which is big for me. But I love the crest of a wave through the tail. That fluffier tail is very interesting and fun. Almost something I wish Blastoise still had, but I understand why Blastoise have it. The ears are a bit odd, but I like them kind of. I think of them more of the crest of a wave as well. If you follow my mouse cursor, if you can see it, just look at the wave motion through the arm to that. Even if that was completely unintentional, which I think it could be, you have wave motion there with the ear to the arm. You have that through with the legs and the tail. And I love the not duller blue, but the more shady blue tone. I really appreciate the blue tone that Wartortle has. Color contrast is there. I like it a lot. Wartortle is underappreciated. So I'm going to put Wartortle up at the S. And now I got to go to Blastoise. And again, I like Blastoise. I think it's the weakest of the three. I do like how beefy it is. That's quite interesting from you know, little hungry boy, Squirtle to a little hungry boy Wartortle, just beefy cannon of Blastoise. I like some of the older artwork a little bit more. I think that's a little bit more fun. The color contrast notes are still there. I like the cannon idea. Very kid friendly. I do enjoy that. But at the same time, I think it's a bit on the nose and very much just like, what would be a grown up version of Squirtle? This. It doesn't go many places besides that. And again, I think that I've come to go from these middle forms are kind of meh to in the past year, specifically with these two, Wartortle and Charmeleon, thinking that so much of the heavy lifting of why we appreciate and like these three starters and their final evolution so much is because they're middles. And I really do think that Wartortle's the best of the three because of that and makes people like Blastoise without Blastoise doing much. But Wartortle, again, isn't the ultimate reward Blastoise is. So that's what I'd go with Wartortle over Blastoise, Wartortle over Blastoise. Gotta stay hydrated. Gotta stay hydrated as we get just to Pokemon 10, and we got 151 of these. So I'm gonna go through. And Caterpie. I like Caterpie. I like Caterpie. I love the color contrast. I love the segmentation. I'm gonna put Caterpie at the B. I like the shape. I like the segmentation. It's very much a silkworm, or just a basic caterpillar look. But I appreciate it, and I like the odder notes of the circles, and I like the segmentation. I really like these just little teeny tiny bump legs that it has, and almost just like rattlesnake, like rattletail. I like that. But is it better than these guys? No, but it's the first kind of basic Pokemon you see to a degree, and I like that personally with Caterpie. And I really do like this Y-shaped headpiece. I don't know about the unity of the evolution line, but it's interesting. Metapod. Metapod is a B for me, honestly. I like Metapod more than I even like Caterpie because I love. Actually, I'm gonna shock some people right now. I'm gonna go B. I'm going to A. I like Metapod's design a lot. I think it deserves a lot of credit. And if that's gonna be one of my major reasons why I like a Pokemon, then I think it's got to be higher. Metapod. The reason I am so fond of Metapod is the subtlety of the design brings so much dimension to the character and to. So, for instance, all the segmentation is done through line work, which I really, really appreciate. But I love the dual face of Metapod. For the longest time, I always thought angry bug stuck in a cask because you see this back section of Metapod and you're like, oh, big angry nose, mad because it can't do anything. That is there. However, I love that the face actually is through here and it's forward facing this way, which gives a lot of notes of extra dimension to it. Okay. These segments almost give a mustache like vibe and a nose. So it has a full face. It's far more subtle and you're drawn to the back. It's kind of like one of those art pieces where if you look at it one way, you see the beautiful woman, or the other piece, you see an old woman, or there's a lot of people like you could see a rabbit, or you could see a woman. You could see this, or you could see that. It's almost like the blue dress, gold dress thing to a degree. Metapod has a lot of subtlety in it that brings up the design work a lot and is an underrated reason why I think people actually do like Metapod. They just don't like to say they like Metapod. I like Metapod. Metapod's cool. And Butterfree. What a nice, kind design. I'm going to put Butterfree up. I'm going so heavy on design, but I also have to put in stuff I like as well. I'll put Butterfree at the A because it's usually the first fully evolved Pokemon a lot of us ever had as a kid. When you play Fire Red, Leaf Green, or if you go back to my days of Blue, Red, Yellow, or even fortunate enough people that had Red or Green from Japan, Butterfree was one of the first Pokemon you ever got at a fully evolved form. There's sentimentality there. But I do appreciate that very different look of these big cascading wings and the line work through the wings and all of those pieces garnering the design that Butterfree is. Um, is there a lot of unity between the evolutionary line? Meh, not so much. I will be critiquing evolutionary line if it makes sense or if it's a downturn personally. But I think Butterfree's still an improvement from the other two, but the subtle design choices bring it really up to A. Whereas in B, whereas in Butterfree, it's still an A Pokemon and it's really fun and I love it. But I don't know if it's as well designed. But that's where I'd say that. Weedle. I think Weedle I don't have to drag on my talk as much. But Weedle's a C. Got no B. I remember playing Frigg on the bus with other kids, and one of them complimented my Butterfree. I think he didn't expect someone would put one on their team. Yeah, dude. It hurts. So Butterfree is usually one of the first Pokemon to leave my team, and it hurts me every time because I like Butterfree. I do. It's just Butterfree's limited in what you can do. Just really, it's limited from a gameplay perspective, but it's such a fun, endearing, nice Pokemon, and the character development is there through the anime, which isn't fair to go through that. But when you're playing, you can think about it's everyone loves Butterfree, but it's hard. It's hard to keep Butterfree on your team. It really is. But going back to Weedle, I don't think there's enough color contrast. I like the segmentation. The little bumpy legs I don't hate. I would have gone with a different color than the odd red pink. I think it blends in too much and makes it a little too weird, personally speaking. But it's not a bad Pokemon. It's just a basic Pokemon, and that I'm not crazy about. Kakuna. I'm gonna put Kakuna up at the B. I like Kakuna actually. Um, Kakuna would be a B again because of the line work notes, much like Metapod. I love that there's so many ways to interpret Kakuna's design. That's why I think I'd have Kakuna up there. Yes, it has these basic eyes, but they look a little bit more bug and evilish, which I kind of dig. But I love that from this note you can see more of a smiling face. From this note you can see a devil-like goatee. From this note here you can see businessman with a derpy face. There's all these segmentations to make. There's even a face here, if you really look through it, of almost a totem here with the eyes being here and here, and the tie bottom section acting of the nose, and then the frown here. There's so much subtle work to Kakuna that I really like. And you know what? I'm moving Kakuna past Charmander. I really love that. I don't think it's as cool as Metapod. However, now that I see that face, I kind of want to move Kakuna up even higher. You know what? I'm going to do it. Kakuna, what's up? I'm going to put you right by Metapod because I think they're there. Just different ways to do it. But I really like Kakuna's work there. I think that's really fun. I'm going to put Kakuna up in an A. I never thought I'd say that. I'm going to put Kakuna up in an A. Different from when the first time I ranked it. That's kind of why I like doing these frequently, because then you notice all the design notes. Didn't notice at first. Beedrill, pretty basic B. Don't hate it. I do like it. Beedrill's a B for me. Someone allergic to bees, I'm still fair. This is a cool Pokemon. I like having a Beedrill, but it's usually the first to leave the team. It's a basic B, but it still looks like there's some growth from Weedle to Kakuna Beedrill. And I do appreciate that, and I do like how the hue goes from really shaded burnt orange, Texas orange style, really dull orange to more of a goldenrod to more of a far brighter yellow B color. So I like that character growth and journey there as well. But it's a basic B. So I'll give it a B. Pidgey. I love Pidgey. I'm gonna put Pidgey at a B. I like Pidgey. Very basic design. It's a pigeon. It's a roughly little pigeon. There's some fun there, but it's a pigeon. But it's an endearing pigeon. It really hurts me anytime I have to take my Pidgey or Pidgeot or even a Pidgeot off my team. I love the rough nature. I really think it just looks like it's been through some stuff and it wants a friend, and you can be its friend. I love that for Pidgey. Whereas Pidgeotto, on the other hand, Pidgeotto is going to go towards the. I like Pidgeotto more than like Butterfree. I will put Pidgeotto here. I like the plumage on the back. I like the plumage off the top. I like that spread look, and it looks far more like a bird of prey than Pidgey. Pidgey looks like your basic ruffled it up. It's been through the weather pigeon. Pidgeotto looks like it's got some strength. It's got some power. Got something to it, but it still looks like an agile bird that can do some things. I love the red and yellow through it with the darkened eyes. I still think that's great design. I like those color contrast elements. Very, very cool. But Pidgeotto would be an A, and I will go Pidgeot. Same deal. I'll have them pretty much tied. So the most basic take of Pidgeot, or the most common take, this one, I think is less than Pidgeotto because it kind of just looks like a beefier Pidgeotto with a bigger plume. However, if you go back and look at the old sprites, specifically Pokemon Database, there is artwork for Pidgeot where it's like it's almost Native American headdress shaped style plumage that goes up. Very, very pretty, very beautiful, and it makes it look super powerful, super majestic, and gives Pidgeot a different feel than Pidgeotto, which I really, really enjoy. But Pidgeot still, I don't think one can be separated from the other. There's not a lot of growth from Pidgeotto to Pidgeot, but it's still a fun design. It gets Rattata. It's a rat. It's purple. Got no beef with it. Rattata's a C. If it's Clive the Rattata, it goes up, but not all Rattatas are Clive. For those watching on Twitch, you may know Clive the Rattata is a fixture on my Fire Red team until things happen. And then Clive plotted and partially erased my save file, so I had to restart to make sure Clive was still on my team. Rattata is a fun little basic one. It's cute. I like Rattata, but basic design, and it just was like, let's draw a rat. How do we make it different? Purple. So yeah, that's where I gotta say, Rattata, basic. Raticate. This is very much Drew a rat. I think I got to do it. Raticate's a D. I don't hate Raticate. I don't like Raticate though. The Alolan designs a little better, far better in my opinion. But it's just a rat. It's just a rat. The most redeeming qualities I've ever seen of these two are from the Pokemon Adventures manga series, where those are the only times I've ever enjoyed those Pokemon. I catch these Pokemon solely to complete the Pokedex, not because I ever like them or want them. So, I will say Raticate is a D. Spearow. Here's the rough thing for me. Spearow is not nearly as appealing to me as Pidgey. I will put Spearow. I'll put Spearow at a C, I guess. I'll put it behind Rattata because Rattata's kind of got some cute nature to it. This looked like a bird that's seen some stuff. Swedish Beast 29. Welcome to the stream, my friend. Beedrill is elite. I don't know if Beedrill's elite. I like Beedrill. I don't think I could say Beedrill is elite. Spearow, on the other hand, I don't think he's elite. I don't think anyone's going to challenge me on that. I do like the color contrast, but the head has no pronounced features. It's just all one solid color, which kind of throws me off. It's almost like anti-Pokemon design. It's kind of weird. I really like the hooked beak nose. That is kind of fun. Yeah, as I keep looking at it, it's a roughed up bird, and it's a little odd for me, so I'm going to put it at a C. Spearow, on the other hand, I'll put at the B. I still like Pidgey more, but this thing looks like some weird, monstrous creature that is just looking for something to mess things up. Spearow has a lot of things. I really wish there was a color contrast there. There's unity between Spearow and Fearow, but my gosh, as my Zelda ringtone goes off as I am getting a phone call and ignoring it. Um, there's color contrast elements that I wish that are missing that I wish were there, but there's unity between Spearow and Fearow. Fearow looks like it's seen some stuff and it's a menace, which I kind of dig, which is why it's a B. But still, Fearow not super special to me. I really do like the unique, odd vulture-like neck. That is pretty cool, very cartoon-esque. I like that. Ekans. Just an inside joke on the streams. You know, Ekans backwards spells Evan. Um, which is completely untrue. Alrighty, Ekans. Ekans is a C. Like, I'm annoyed by Ekans. Honestly, I'm annoyed by Ekans. I like the spun, coiled snake look. That's cool, but no teeth, nothing menacing. It looks like a garden snake. There's nothing wrong with garden snakes, but it feels like it's too good, too big and too powerful to be a basic garden snake that you'd find at the beginning of your journey, but not good enough to be further in the game when you should really care. And you find Ekans at a similar time as you can find a Clefairy, Vulpix, Growlithe, even, Sandshrew, things that, Pikachu, things that'll really grow with you and you might have on your team forever. What's the point of having an Ekans on your team? And I do it like the Laker colors are fine, but the purple and yellow is not always a look that I like with these very subtle purple to really duller yellow. It's a bright yellow, but it's kind of dulled out by the shading effects in there. So uh, Ekans is a C. Arbok, I'll bring Arbok to a B because of the different designs from gens 1 through 5. I still think it's a cool enough Cobra design. However, I wish we could get a little bit more color contrast. It's definitely one that I could think about doing my own regional design. For those that don't know, I create my own Pokemon. You can find it all on my Pokemon related YouTube channel, Pokemon Trainer Evan. Hashtag cheap plug. Arbok could be a really fun design to do a regional for, which could be really fun, which shows potential. I still like that there's a little bit of that coiled snake vibe, but not enough to really just say it's a one-for-one copy of Ekans. But I like the facial features drawn through and the big, fan piece of the Cobra that Arbok has. And the face is kind of interesting. So I'll give it a B. Arbok is never somebody that is never a Pokemon I'm going to have on my team personally, but it's not a bad Pokemon. Pikachu. Okay, so we're coming up on our first teeny tiny break here, but that's okay. It's the last. I'm going to break up Pikachu and Raichu because I really do almost feel like Pikachu deserves its own thing. I will put Pikachu at an A. It's actually I have to do it. It's basic. I gotta do it, but I'll make some. S plus. Pikachu is one of the most inviting designs you can ever find. I gush about Pikachu a lot, and Pikachu's not even my favorite Pokemon. I like Pikachu. I have a very strong affection for it because it's the mascot of one of my franchises. But Pikachu is not like my Pokemon that I gotta have. But it's an S plus Pokemon because the design work is near perfection. If you design something that is as recognizable or more recognizable than Superman, Darth Vader, Mickey Mouse, like Pikachu is on that level. It is a global icon, the likes of Superman, Batman, Wonder Woman, the likes of Mickey and Minnie Mouse. It's on that level of like Darth Vader and Luke Skywalker. And it's a more recognizable mascot than even Mario at this point. That says a lot about the design work. It's such a well-rounded, truly round design to invite you to see that it's fun and engaging and can be your friend. But that zigzag tail gives it enough energy and enough cool, unique feature to suggest electric typing, but also there's some pizzazz and fun to it. S tier Pokemon. S plus tier Pokemon or design work. Is it my favorite Pokemon? No. But all the elements are there to make it better. And before we go to break, I'm going to do it more on a personal note because I love all the contrast to it and everything. Ivysaur is getting the promotion. And because I like it more, I'm going to put it above Pikachu. Ivysaur is an S plus Pokemon. Fight me. Fight me. I love Ivysaur. Ivysaur is great. With that being said, I'm going to take about 60 seconds just to catch my breath, make sure we're good, and be all there. I will be BRB. We're back. Give you a nice little Kramer. We're back. So glad you all are still with me here. See what you were talking about with the screen earlier today. It's fire. Well, thank you very much. Swedish Beast 29 is my friend Connor. He's actually a staff member of mine at our real life jobs. But Connor's actually getting into the streaming world. He does a lot of NHL stuff. Hockey Manager, Siege. He's all into those games. If you're into that kind of stuff, check out his work. He's going to get his channel up and running on a far more regular basis now, and I'm actually going to help him, which is kind of fun. But thank you for the compliment on the screen. It is very fun to get any notes on my artwork, and thank you, Ashley, for noticing my nifty weight screen. I always want to highlight my Pokemon. And Patregal is one of my favorites, and it was just such a good Superman-esque just standing there, wait for me pose. Had to work, so I had to put it on the BRB. So we are now through, we got through 1 through 25, 2 S pluses just from the first 25 Pokemon. Pretty impressive, and all very much positive notes for the most part through all these Pokemon. But now we're on 26 through 50, and we're on to Raichu. Raichu... Oh, I like Raichu, but it's a downfall from Pikachu. I like Raichu. I'll put Raichu here. It's a better... actually, I'll put Raichu here. I like Raichu less than these 3 Pokemon. I like Raichu less than even some of these Pokemon. However, the design's better. It's just a downfall from Pikachu, which is going to take it down a little notch. Alolan Raichu, higher. Alolan Raichu, chef's kiss, great. And huge shout out to Biscas, because that's one of her absolute adoring favorites, is the Alolan Raichu. This Kanto Raichu is still good, very fun. I really love the skinny tail under the giant lightning bolt. That's really fun. The ears are unique, but throw me off. The orange, I think, was possibly a wrong choice, but that's just me. Raichu definitely has middle form energy, and then once the Pokemon Company decided that it was going to be the final form when they introduced Pichu, odd. It's just an odd way of doing things. Like Raichu, don't hate Raichu, but it's not one of my favorites. Alrighty. Sandshrew. Where do I put Sandshrew? I'm thinking in this category here. Get more than all. Ooh, I almost think I like Sandshrew more than Charmander, but trying not to be biased. I'll put Sandshrew to B right there. I really like the brick look. I love the line work throughout all the scaling, very Armadillo, Pangolin like. I really like those notes. Um, it just looks like a cute little friend. It's got some Pikachu-esque vibes with the color and the shaping. It's got, a lot, but a lot of them have a unique shaping or similar shaping through Gen 1. They have limitations. But I like Sandshrew. Um, Unique, fun little design, and I like its little. So it's fun. Sand Slash design wise is a very fun, unique design. I like it less than I like all of these. I think from a pure standpoint, I remember Sandslash being one of those Pokemon that I thought was really cool as a kid because it had big claws. Big Wolverine fan from Marvel Comics, so it gives me a little Wolverine-esque bite. Oh, and apparently my neighbors decided they're gonna do renovations right now in my stream. Yay! Uh, as I look out my window. However, I really like the spiked look for Sandslash. That's very fun. I'm also going to try one thing to help dampen out some of the sounds of a hammer for me. I hope you guys aren't getting the same that I am. Ergity erg. Almost lost my water there too. We're going to try that. Hopefully the sound is dampened out a little bit with it. So I like the segmentations of the body are odd, but I like the shape of the face, and I like that spike look. It's an A. Sandslash is cool. Sandslash is just straight cool. I'm gonna be doing the Nidorans together because I find them to be pretty similar. They're both Bs. I like Nidoran more than I like Fearow and Arbok. I like the male design more than I like the female design, just because of the horn spike look on the back. And I think the color scheme is a little bit more interesting, but I do like this lighter blue pale look. Cool. They're fun little bunnies, but they're oddly reptilian. They've got the Bulbasaur vibe correct. What is it? Not quite sure, but it's a Pokemon. So that's a really positive and appealing thing that I gotta say is nice to see in Pokemon. So I have B for my Nidoran family. Nidorina, I like Nidorina. Still kind of basic. Like it more than these guys. I don't keep looking at Beedrill and thinking Beedrill might go down. I like Beedrill less. I'll leave Beedrill there for now. I'll continually adjust the rankings probably as we go into a break, so there's always a reason to do it. Nidorina, fun, a little bit more beefy, doesn't change much, but the color scheme changes the hair more towards where it's eventually going to be. I do like that. I like that the face shape changes just a hair. It looks like a little monster. It looks like a pocket monster, which is good. So I will do Nidorina there. And then Nidoqueen. Nidoqueen's cool. Nidoqueen is just cool. I like Nidoqueen's design. I like Nidoqueen's design because it does sexualization of Pokemon, which I don't think there's a lot of Pokemon that deserve that distinction. But it genders it in a really interesting way without immediately hitting you in the face. Because if you look at it, you're like, oh wow, that Pokemon has breasts. When you know it's Nidoqueen and it's gendered and it's one of the only gendered Pokemon right off the bat. However, the way they do it with the belly, it almost looks like a face so you don't get those oddly sexual overtones that you might get from other designs like a Lopunny that I really don't like in Gen 4. And I like that. I wish it still had its teeth from back in the day. Again, if you check Pokemon Database, they have a really good gallery of art from all the generations of Pokemon. Nidoqueen used to have teeth, and I think it'd be really cool to see Nidoqueen have teeth again. Actually, I'm going to do this. I might think about going Nidoqueen higher, but I really like Nidoqueen. Very fun design. Looks like a queen. Slay queen. Slay. So we are going to go forth with Nidoqueen right there. Now we go to Nidorino. I like Nidorino, but it's just a B kind of Pokemon. I like it less than Nidorina, but I think that's because Nidorina looks like there's been some more upright changes, where Nidorino just looks like My spikes got bigger. Ha! But like, it's not as cute. It's not as appealing. So Nidorina has more appeal and still has a bit of that cutesy nature that the original female Nidoran has. That Nidorino does not keep from male Nidoran. So I'll put Nidorino at a B. I like Nidorino. Not a bad Pokemon. Nidoking. I know Nidoking is a very popular Pokemon in a lot of circles. I like Nidoking. I don't love it though. I'll put Nidoking at a B. I like Nidoking, but it's Nidoking's always one of those Pokemon I think I should do, and then I never do. And I think there's a reason for that because it just doesn't have a big appeal to my heart. And so that's why I'd say we got to do it that way. It has a very Baragon-esque look if you're a Godzilla fan. I know a lot of people have drawn that comparison in the past that I've heard. It's a fun Pokemon design. It looks like a big, beefy destroyer, which is fun. But again, I just don't think it's as special of a design as Nidoqueen. So I will put King at the B mark. Clefairy. Clefairy's so adorable. I just like Clefairy. I rarely ever use Clefairy. This playthrough that I'm doing on Twitch, which you can find every Tuesday night on Twitch at about 7 p.m., sometimes 8 p.m. Hashtag shameless plug again. I gotta do it. Clefairy's got an S Pokemon because it's got that mascot vibe. Yes, it's got the curly cool hair that I really like, but that soft bubblegum pink is so appealing. It's adorable. Clefairy is adorable. To the point where I'm like, just because it was odd. After I accidentally erased part of my save file and had to go through Mount Moon again, out of nowhere in Mount Moon, found and caught a Clefairy. Named it after a streamer that has been making more appearances in my channel's stream, Christykins, who's also a great streamer. She's featured on my Twitch channel. Go check her stuff out as well. She's a great streamer with a lot of Pokemon stuff and a lot of other unique, fun little things. I named Clefairy after her. I always try to, the streamers that are in my channels a lot and I'm getting all along with and friendly with, or I want to say thank you to, I name Pokemon after them. But this Clefairy is just such a fun, unique, inviting design. That bubblegum pink goes so well. It's an S tier Pokemon. It is. I like Clefairy a lot. I rarely use it as a playthrough, but I like Clefairy a lot. Because I like all the notes that are through the design. It's a big, chonky, adorable, cute, fun Pokemon. Love me a Clefairy. Righty, and we're gonna go to Clefable here. And so as we go to Clefable, I'm also looking at National Pokedex, so I have my numbers correct. Bulbapedia. But all right, that's exactly where I thought. I had a perfect guess too in my head. Should have just kept it to myself. But Clefable, I like Clefable, but it's a downgrade. Clefable's an A. And like Clefable. Clefable's one of those Pokemon though that like it kind of just adds elements to add them, and Clefairy's pretty much near perfection. I mean, Clefairy was almost the Pokemon mascot for a reason. So Clefable being there is an interesting, just having these spikes. I know why they have them there, and it loses more of that bubblegum pink and becomes more of that pale flesh tone color, and I'm not crazy about that. But Clefable's still a fun Pokemon. A. Alrighty, let's get some S's in here. Vulpix is an S. I love Vulpix. Vulpix is great. Do I like Vulpix more than I like Bulbasaur? I'm not sure. I really like Bulbasaur. But Vulpix. Vulpix is such a cute, fun, inviting design. Hints at fire without being over the top fire. There's such a cute majesty to Vulpix and such an appealing vibe. What a fun, cute Pokemon. Who wouldn't want to be Vulpix's friend? Who wouldn't want Vulpix as their friend, man? Such an adorable, adorable Pokemon. I love Vulpix. Vulpix is an S. Love a Vulpix. Chef's kiss. Alrighty, Ninetales. Ninetales is where we go up. Ninetales is an S plus. If you have ever seen some of my other content, you know I'm a huge fan of Suicune, and I use the word majestic with Suicune a lot. Ninetales has a very similar vibe. There is just such a majestic, beautiful vibe to Ninetales. Ninetales is so simplistic, pretty much almost all one color note, but it's so beautiful. Such a majestic design of a Pokemon that is so appealing. I remember getting my first Ninetales Pokemon card and losing my mind as a child because it was a beautiful piece of. I remember when I first had a Ninetales in the game, I lost my mind because I love Ninetales. It's such a beautiful Pokemon. And I love the subtle fire notes with just the little orange tips of the tail and those subtle fire shapes through the top plumage of hair. Love that. Adore that. Ninetales is the definition of chef's kiss. Beautiful Pokemon. Beautiful Pokemon. Love Ninetales. Jigglypuff. Ooh, it's gonna. Ooh, where do I put Jiggly? I'll put Jiggly up at the. Put Jigglypuff up at the A, where Jigglypuff goes. I'll put Jigglypuff here because the design is really, really simple, but it gets the point across. And it's again has the Clefairy Pikachu vibe where it's just such a beautiful, adorable, cute, inviting Pokemon. You could see a kid being best friends with a Jigglypuff. It just works. Ninetales agreed, very overlooked by Growlithe / Arcanine, sadly, even though Arcanine is a god. That is complete truth, my friend, and we're going to get there, Kanto Ray. However, on that Jigglypuff vibe, it's got that curly cute hair that looks just, oh, so good. Not as quite a good of a spit curl as Clefairy has, but very fun. I think it's almost impossible to see Jigglypuff without seeing manga vibes, or more importantly, anime vibes from the series. That's such an endearing character from the series. But same time, that's not what we're really ranking them on. We're just ranking them on how much I like them, but more important, design, evolutionary lines, things of that nature. I like Jigglypuff a lot. Just what a beautiful round little ball of fun. Jigglypuff's fun. Whereas Wigglytuff, nice. Lovely. Love the confession. Actually fell asleep to a Jigglypuff. That's rad. Wigglytuff is a C, and I even think Wigglytuff could be a D because it's just this weird egg-shaped, dumb-shaped version of Jigglypuff. It just, that's what it looks like. It looks like somebody tried to draw Jigglypuff and failed. That's the best way I can describe Wigglytuff. God, I just keep looking at that comment that you fell asleep to an actual Jigglypuff sing, and that is adorable. I love that confession. I'm sorry, I keep getting distracted because it's such a wonderful little note to being a Pokemon fan. But Wigglytuff just looks almost kind of like someone failed to draw Jigglypuff. And where does it go? It doesn't go anywhere special. Nothing of note. It's just there, and I think that's why Jigglypuff in game doesn't get a lot of love from a lot of people, myself included, because frankly, Wigglytuff doesn't really give you a lot of reasons to love it. So Wigglytuff is a C for me. All right, now as we're going, we're 40 down. We got 10 more before we hit our next break. I'm gonna go Zubat. I don't actually hate Zubat, but Zubat, I think I'll put here. I like Zubat, but I will say I hate Zubat temporarily because I just had to about do Mount Moon twice. Again, because I accidentally erased my save file. But I really like the eyes not being eyes, but I love the eyes being featured as an idea through the ears. It's a very subtle note on Zubat, which is really, really fun. And a really fun and unique. And actually, I keep thinking about that. I gotta do it. Gotta do it. I'm a really big fan of bats. Huge Batman fan. But I'm a big fan of bats in general, and I like bat designs. Um, I love the coloration of the wings, which is really fun. It's got this almost gargoyle esque vibe if you were into gargoyles as a kid. The Disney series, which you can find on Disney Plus. Great series, highly recommend it. But I love the subtlety of the eyes being in the ears. I just don't think you can always catch it in game, which is kind of hard, which I'll put it at a B. Whereas Golbat, Golbat's just a weird bat. I like Wigglytuff more than I like Golbat, and that's hard. I think the feet are really dumb. There is an old design, again, Pokemon Database can show it to you, that has a far more coffin-like body shape for Golbat that I'm kind of into, but it just doesn't hit the right notes. And for that, I gotta give Golbat a C. It's just kind of there. Meanwhile, Oddish, what up? It's not a D. I just gotta scroll. Oddish is an S, baby. I adore Oddish. I will slam the I will stand on the table for Oddish all day long. Oddish is adorable. Adorable. And I love the entire Oddish line. Huge fan of Gloom and Vileplume. Adore Blossom. I think it's just such a fun, unique, wonderful design. Right. I love that they just took a very simple idea, fun little radish, and turned it into something really unique and fun and interesting with Oddish. I like the color contrast between the deeper blues, brighter greens. I love the shading on it. Beautiful design work. And Oddish is just fun. And it really gives you the vibe of growing a plant that's your friend and getting rewarded with that full plume of Vileplume. So I really like Oddish. Oddish is great. Gloom is an A. I like Gloom a lot, actually. I love the secreting drool that Gloom has because it makes it so much different than every other Pokemon. Is it basic? Sure. But Oddish is basic. But you can tell I really like basic ideas that are simplistic and get you through because sometimes simplicity is the best thing. I love that it's just these weird, like, the weird little nubby body parts work really well for Gloom because it's a plant and they grow in weird ways where they don't work for the feet of Golbat. They just don't. They look stupid on Golbat, but they look great on Gloom. I love that drool. I love the tendrils coming off at weird angles. That's really fun. Gloom is just such a cool Pokemon. I love Gloom. And Vileplume, I like Vileplume. I will put Vileplume. Actually, I'll put Vileplume in a B. I still like Vileplume. Um, I just think it. I really like Blossom more, and that's what. And if you're hearing cries from my cat, he's downstairs waiting to get fed, but I'm not gonna feed him right now because it's time. But Vileplume is definitely a high-ranking Pokemon. Like Vileplume a lot. Very fun. It's just like I think again it goes down, but I love the reward element of that huge flower plume at the top. That is quite in personally to me. All right, do here. I thought it was Boo Boo. Yeah, I don't think Boo Boo has the crying capabilities that Trace does. My God, Trace is loud. Um, but he's the Trace cat. Love him. Dumb boy. Paris. Paris is a low C. It's a mushroom crab, but it's a bug. It's weird. Don't like the face. Face is weird looking. My God, Trace. Please, can you let me do 4 more Pokemon, my friend? Where Paris is a fun, unique, interesting. One second. All right. I made him run away, so his cries won't be as harsh to hear. And then I'll feed him in my next break. Um, Paris. The mushroom is a fun idea. I just don't like the execution. Actually, I'm going to do it. Paris is a D. And I like it less than Raticate. I really don't like Paris. Paris is just one of those Pokemon I've never been into. It made me hate it even more in Pokemon Legends Arceus because you had to deal with Paris all the time in those introductory levels. Um, I like the mushrooms. I like the idea. I hate the execution. Hate the execution. Whereas Parasect, I will give. The concept is great. I don't like the execution. But Parasect here, I'm also going to do this because I it's just it's a great idea and it's a great concept, but then to not do a ghost type or to not do uh, a darker vibe is just something I disagree with in the choice. I love the blank stare of the eyes where there's no eyes at all. I love that. I do love the domed mushroom giving it a fortress like look. Interesting. I just flawed execution in my flawed execution. Venonat. Venonat goes to the cutesy part again. Venonat's a B. I like Venonat. I like how I love these antennae. It's very common rider, very masked rider, if you will, from your no common rider from the US. It's masked rider in the US. Um, I love the antenna. I love the little teeth. Got a little bite to it. I adore the teeny tiny little hands. It's a lovely little gnat Pokemon. I love it. Um, and I do think there's some interesting ideas of that Venonat was supposed to be Butterfree because there's more unifying ties between Venonat and Butterfree than there is Venonat and Venomoth. But nonetheless, I like Venonat a lot. Venomoth, I will put Venomoth over here with our Pod B tiers. I like Venomoth more than I like these. I like Venonat more. There we go. Finally worked. Venomoth, I like. I need more color contrast though, but I will like the spiking of the headpiece. I really do like the line work through the wings. I just wish there was more color contrast, and I think that's a weakness on the part of Venomoth's design, and that's why I'd say Venomoth B. And finally, we'll split up Diglett and Dugtrio because they're essentially the exact same in our break. But we go Diglett is number 50. Diglett is just dumb stupidity, and I like it. But it's a simple tier Pokemon. But I like Diglett. Diglett's adorable. And I want to put Diglett right there. I really do like Diglett. I'm going to do this. Just like these two a lot. They're just fun little they're just dumb dopes. I love Diglett's simplicity. I love the idea of a whack-a-mole. I just love how simple they made it. It's very fun and interesting. Just have such a simple Pokemon design. But the rock work is there to make it look like a real mole. It's really fun. So that's where I'd say I like Diglett. Diglett's fun. Diglett's a B. But that is going to do for 1 through 50 now. I've been adjusting them a little bit more towards the end. I'm rethinking. I might move some of these guys down here to see, and I might move Sandslash down or maybe Quable down, but I'm still going to think about that before we do it. But I'm going to take another about 90-second pause to take care of some business. So BRB with 51 through 75. We're back! And we're back! Hello, once again, friends. We have gone through 50 Pokemon, and we are going to get through all 151 tonight. It's taken an hour to get through the first 50. I don't think it's going to take 2 hours to get through the next 101, but I'm long winded. We'll see. We'll try. So far, S plus tier has 3S, has another 5. Generally positive with Pokemon, especially Generation 1. But we'll go with Pokemon 51 here to go to our third part of these rankings. Dugtrio. Dugtrio. Here's where the simplicity wears off for me. I like Dugtrio because it's just 3 Diglets. That's fun and interesting. But the novelty wears off with Dugtrio, and it's very much like I love the simplicity of the Whack-A-Mole turning into something really cool, and then it doesn't. And then Dugtrio is just like, hey, there's 3 of us. And those designs always kind of kill me in Pokemon. So the novelty wears off with Dugtrio, whereas the novelty with Diglett's really fun. Meowth. I like Meowth, but actually that's a lie. I really don't like Meowth. I have no beef with Meowth. I'll put Meowth here in the C category. I know Meowth has its fans, especially the anime fans. They really like Meowth. I just recently really started watching the anime more, and I'm not a huge Meowth guy. And Meowth in game kind of sucks. Meowth kind of sucks in game. It's lanky in a weird way. It's an odd representation of a cat, honestly. But it's there. I understand the inspiration of the Japanese cat that it's based off of, like Echo and all that kind of stuff. I understand that. But not my cup of tea. So Meowth, meh. Whereas Persian, I like Persian. Again, it's simple. It's to the point. I wish there was more color contrast. I think they could have picked a. Oh, sorry. Excuse me. I wish that we had a different color to Persian, but I think there's a lot of potential for Persian to be there. It's a basic mountain lion, basic big cat. I like it. It's fun. There's not a lot to say about Persian, but I like it. It's fun. Psyduck. I'm not done. Psyduck's my boy. There's a lot of love in my heart for Psyduck. Psyduck, all of the character development is in that pose, that dim-wit duck having a migraine, and then its powers being based off of migraine. As a long-time migraine sufferer, I highly connect with Psyduck. I love ducks. Duck Pokemon that has a migraine is right up my alley. I love its derpy nature. There's not a more derpy Pokemon than Psyduck. And derpy done right is dope. I'm going to have a Psyduck tattoo in my future. I've drawn it out 1 billion times. I adore Psyduck. But also, I just think the design elements from a character perspective are all there. So many of these poses that you see don't tell you much about the Pokemon. Sandslash gives you some character vibes. Charizard, Charmeleon give you some character vibes. Nidoqueen gives you some vibes. Pidgeotto gives you some vibes even. Ninetales, Ivysaur, they do that. Pikachu gives you a little bit of that. The pose work of Psyduck tells a story and tells you so much about the Pokemon. I adore Psyduck for that reason. So the design elements are there besides just my obvious love. But Psyduck is an S plus Pokemon. Fight me. I dare you. Fight me. Psyduck is my boy. I love Psyduck. Meanwhile, Golduck. Got no beef with Golduck, but I would say Golduck's a high B for me. I like Golduck. Don't hate Golduck. Oddly, I used to adore Golduck a lot more, and I didn't like Psyduck as much. Psyduck definitely became my guy once I became a migraine sufferer in my years. Likely do questions. So but I like Golduck. I wish there was like hair more color contrast, and I do think the turn to the 3D era kind of hurts Golduck because Golduck kind of looks weird in 3D, whereas 2D Golduck can look a little bit more attitudinal and fun. Golduck, I think, is another one of those Pokemon that, like, if you're just a Gen 1 or Gen 2 player, Golduck has a higher tier ranking because like, oh, Golduck's cool. But then once you get like 1,000 Pokemon and so many more cool Pokemon are there, Golduck can be kind of lost. Whereas I'll never lose Psyduck because of the attachment I have to it. And it's hard to lose a Psyduck just because it's such a dumb, derpy, dimwit duck. Golduck doesn't have those vibes, so it doesn't have as much. But I still like Golduck. Golduck's a high B. I like the spike look. I like the webbing of the feet and Mankey. I like Mankey. I like Mankey a lot. I'll put Mankey right here. I love Mankey. Angry Pig Monkey says it all. Right there. I adore it. The little two-pronged fork feet work, the curled tail, the mad face. Love Mankey. I love Mankey. Mankey's fun. So Mankey's really cool. Primate, same deal. I'll have it lesser on the A category, but I do like that it does change a little bit. The color to the arms changes a little bit. I like the braces there. I think it's a great middle evolution, and now it finally is a middle evolution with Annihilate. I think Annihilate is dope. But Primate, I'm a big fan of. I like Primate. I will do there. Actually, I like Primate more than I like Clefable, so I'll put there. Primates and A. I'm being very positive about these. I remember the last time thinking a lot of these probably were less. Oh well. Growlithe. Growlithe is adorable. Growlithe is the puppy. We love Growlithe. Hope you like my singing. Growlithe is an A or is an S. It is super endearing, adorable little cute puppy. Love that is happening. That is super, super cool. But same time, I will say this as I futz with my ringtone here. Just do that kind of stuff. Sorry, my apologies midstream due to my technical difficulties. That I am so sorry. My apologies. I'll have to cut a little bit out. My apologies. You can see real life happening. Growlithe, adorable puppy. Love it. What a cute, adorable, cute thing. It's got a little bit of bite with the nails. Shows it's got some it's got some toughness. The little hairs, the little fur getting spiky. Super fun. But Growlithe is such an adorable little puppy. It's got the same thing I said for Jigglypuff and a few other Pokemon. You can see a kid being best friends with a Growlithe. And that really helps aid in a game that's based on having a friend. Next up, greatest Pokemon of all time. Fight me. I do not care. Growlithe is S+, greatest Pokemon of all time. It's a fire tiger dog that can learn dragon moves. I'm sorry. Can you argue that? It's a fire tiger dog that can learn dragon moves. It shows speed without having to show like a running design. It shows power through its stance, but it's not there. The striping makes it look absolutely incredible and unique, and it has a mystique to it. The crazy fur gives it a fun, appealing look, but also a cutesy look that it could still be your friend. Arcanine is the greatest Pokemon, bar none, case closed. Fight me. Fight me. Come for me. Because I will take you on any day for Arcanine. Arcanine is my boy. I adore Arcanine. Greatest Pokemon of all time. Most biased I am, but also it's one of the most popular Pokemon too for a lot of people. Love Arcanine. Arcanine is quadruple chef's kiss. Love Arcanine. Poliwag! I like Poliwag. Poliwag's fun. I'm going to put Poliwag here. I love Poliwag's unique design. Up until just like maybe a year or two ago, never realized that the pink wasn't a nose, that it was the mouth. And it was a tadpole belly. It took me that long. You could say it's kind of dumb, but it's also unique, fun design work, just kind of like the Metapod and Kakuna aspects of it. I love Poliwag. It's such an adorable little guy. Love Poliwag. Love the color. Love that spiral look. Very different, unique way to be simplistic in Gen 1, but still have a fun Pokemon. I like Poliwag. Poliwag's cool. Ah, Poliwhirl. Poliwhirl's got mascot vibes. I like Poliwhirl a lot. Again, got that mascot vibe. It kind of reminds me of the 7 Up guy from the 7 Up. What was that? Super Nintendo and Sega Genesis game. There was like a 7 Up mascot that had a random video game. Marketing at its finest. But I like Poliwhirl. I like the little boxing gloves. I like the growth, but it's got mascot vibes for a reason. It's great. Pepsi Man. Pepsi Man? No, not Pepsi Man. It's like a weird, almost 7 Up looking guy. It's really strange. Pepsi Man is its own horrid marketing scheme. But I adore this Poliwhirl. Really fun, unique design while being simplistic. Poliwrath, I like Poliwrath, but some of the appeal wears off for me. I'm gonna put him at an A, but he's in this kind of category here that they could go down. Now that I keep thinking about it, I like Sandslash here more. I keep looking at him and going, like it less? Do I like it less? Yeah, I'm gonna put Sandslash down here. I gave it more for the design work, but I think it's more of a B tier Pokemon than anything. That honestly that helps me a lot. Poliwrath, I think a lot of fun ideas of posing here for art, which I think is a really fun way to tell a story with Poliwag, Poliwhirl, and Poliwrath. But I think some of the appeal is lost with Poliwrath because it becomes more of just big burly beef man versus like fun cutesy guys that have some power. Abra, I like Abra. Abra's a unique design, a very interesting take on a cat, if that's what it's supposed to be based off of. But Abra's a unique kind of cat, as I like to say. Abra's fun. I'll put Abra at a really, I would consider it more of a B plus than anything. I almost feel like I need a B plus category, which maybe I'll do because I don't know if they're quite A territory. I'll put Abra there. You know what? Why don't I do that right now? I will do this. B plus. Oop. Apologies, I did it all wrong. B plus. We'll do that. Then we have a little bit more. Oh. Gotta fix the colors because the color off. Tremendous. So we'll do a new B plus category. I think is fairer to it. So we'll go Charmander is a B plus. Golduck's a B plus. Abra is a B plus. Poliwrath a Fable. We'll think about it. We'll think about these guys. I think B plus is a better note. I think we need a B plus category. But Abra, fun, unique design. I love the weird shoulder pad look. Just looks kind of alien-esque, but it's not. But there's something terrestrial about it. An interesting, unique way to do things. I like Abra's vibe. Abra's kind of fun. So B plus for Abra. Kadabra, on the other hand, Kadabra's dope. I love this weird tail, the weird star look. Everything about Kadabra is just cool. Kadabra's just cool. Don't necessarily like the SS for obvious reasons on Kadabra's little belly, but everything else about I love the whiskers. I love the introduction of the spoon. I love everything about Kadabra. Kadabra is so cool and such a wildly wild, underappreciated Pokemon because Yuri Geller had to be an idiot. But Kadabra is super, super cool. Love Kadabra. Same deal, Alakazam. I still treat Alakazam as a total dope guy. Again, I'm thinking I might have to add the A plus category. Um, I don't want to go into all those distinctions. I kind of feel like we have to now. I've opened the floodgates with the B plus territory. Let me check how many Pokemon we got here. We are in with 65 Pokemon. Okay. We're close to another break almost. I will say this. Alakazam, I want to give these guys their fair due. Love the whiskers, love the spoons. They inherently feel like they have power. There's something weird and unique about them, which lends itself to the psychic typing. I think these were a great introduction to psychic typing. This entire Abra line. And Alakazam feels like a major payoff, and I love Alakazam. Mega Alakazam was even doper. But I love this entire line. Very fun, very fun. A. Machop's a solid B. Maybe B plus. But I like Machop. Machop's fun. I like the scrawny rib look, so it shows growth when they start growing up. I love that, and I love the top fin-esque. Very much just a kind of like a weird monster-looking guy, but I dig it. So we'll go B. I like it. It shows a little grit, a little fight to it, so a little spirit to it. So I think that's a great way to show off fighting type. So it's very fun, especially because so many Pokemon. There's only like 5 in each type half the time. Alrighty. Machoke. Well, I'll put in B plus. Actually, I think Machoke's a very interesting, unique, fun thing to do. Unlike Conkeldurr, I think the veining kind of works on Machoke because it looks more like a weird way to do an accent versus like these weird bulging veins that Conkeldurr has. I love the championship belt being added. I love the muscle mass. And like the jawline makes it look almost kind of Charizard-esque, which gives it more of that monster vibe. Machoke is really, really cool. Love Machoke. Dope. And Machamp's an A. Very obviously Goro-esque, but I love the 4-arm design. I think the Gigantamax version is super cool. Super cool. But I love the 4-arm look. The head fin's still there. I like that it almost has like a beard look, but then it has a weird chin too. So it looks less humanoid, yet more humanoid at the same time. It's such an interesting, weird, unique distinction. Machamp is cool. Machamp's cool, dude. It is. And so I think Machamp is an A. Bellsprout, on the other hand, Bellsprout's fine. I like Bellsprout. Let's put Bellsprout here. Let's do that. Bellsprout shall be a B. I love the idea of this just little tiny running, moving, bell-shaped plant. It's just a weird, unique creature. I think Bellsprout's kind of fun, so I'm gonna give it a B. I like the color contrasting. The yellow hits really well. It just looks like an odd creature, and I think that works well in a Pokemon world. Weepinbell. Weepinbell I don't like. Far too lippy. Far too and the yellow is too overblown in my opinion with the weird Weepinbell is down here in this weird distinction. Just don't like these Pokemon. Put Weepinbell here for now, but I think we're gonna add more categories once we hit our 75 break, and that is where I'll go to those distinctions. So Weepinbell is just it's just meh. It's meh. I like the color contrast, but I just don't think the colors are used very well. I think they could have used a little bit more starter-esque energy where there's subtle color changes instead of just yellow to yellow straight up. Victory Bell, on the other hand, that is a dope Pokemon. Victory Bell is a unique, interesting Pokemon. What a fun take with the upside down head and face. So unique and fun and interesting, and I love a Venus Flytrap inspired Pokemon. Victory Bell is really, really cool. And certainly an A. Um, I like Victory Bell a lot from a design standpoint and a concept standpoint. I just keep looking at it and going, nah, I like it more than that. I like it more than that. I'll do this because I don't know if I like it more than Pidgeot truly. I'll break them up. I like Pidgeotto, Pidgeot, but I'll just break them up for fun of it. So Victory Bell is just such a well-designed Pokemon. Lip actually works because it looks like the top of something, but more than just like lips. Where Bleeping Bell looks like it has those weird Gen 1 lips. I love the teeth going upward. It's just such a cool, unique design. Very fun design here. So A work. A work for Victory Bell. Tentacool. Like Tentacool. Don't hate it. But it's in this range. It's kind of like the Bellsprout-esque look. I like how oddly alien it looks, but so it has that weird jellyfish quality to it. The jellyfish are just kind of wonky and weird, and I like that too. And I love the primary color contrast between. Interesting. I like the tentacle usage. Tentacle is also cute, so you could see it being caught by a trainer in different ways. That's fun. Head to Cruel. I want to go higher, but I don't know if I can. That'll be here in this weird grouping. Um, I like Tentacruel's overall vibe. I love that hook nose. That's really fun. Even though it looks on the back that it's not really a nose, but just gives off hook nose. A few too many tentacles for the design as is, but not a bad design overall. I really like the vibe that Tentacruel gives off, so I'll give Tentacruel a B. And Pokemon 75 is Graveler, so we are going to be splitting up another evolutionary line. That's okay. Geodude. I just like Geodude. People can say it's a lazy design, and I would understand it. I just like Geodude. Just duder. Like, that's just what he is. Big rock with muscle. And he's mad. It works. It just works. Geodude's fun. Graveler. Similar vibe to Geodude, but for some reason lesser than, even though it's got 4 arms. I'll do that one. Do it that way. Graveler, I think, is somewhat underrated because Golem's a unique Pokemon, and Geodude's kind of got some love because of the anime. But I think Graveler is a fun Pokemon to deal with. I love the more muscular style arm, but it's hidden really well in the rocking feature. Wish there was a little bit more color contrast. Again, there's a lot of I'm getting a lot of one note color, which doesn't help these Pokemon designs. Graveler would be really cool if there's just some speckling that rock kind of has, or just some streaks of like the streaks of color that rock can have in rock formations. So, but I still think Graveler is a fun Pokemon and a B level Pokemon. But we are gonna go in, and before we take our next break, we'll hint at these kind of things. I think we've got to add do this, add a row below, and it will be A plus category. We'll do something like this, or I will turn, nope, I want it. We'll turn the pink into black. Maybe we won't. We'll turn the pink into this more purplish kind of hue. So S plus, make our S rank the pink A plus. Oh, make the A plus Do that. And as we come out of the break, we will go into more of these distinctions. So I will give you add a row below. I'm gonna make a B minus. I think a B minus would serve us kind of well. B minus and C are pretty much the same for me, but there's some distinctions I want to make. B minus, and I will also give you a C minus as well. Um, D and D and F are just like there. Yeah, we'll do this. There. A little bit more color contrast, a little bit more. So as we come out of the break, we are half of a generation down through generation one. I hope you guys are enjoying what you are seeing so far. It's been fun for me to do so far. We're an hour and a half in, but that's a-okay. We're gonna go from S plus, S, A plus, all the distinctions down to F, and we have all of these beloved Pokemon friends to rank as we continue, as the journey continues. But I will be right back. BRB. my friends. We're back. I'm just gonna keep doing Kramer every time. Thank you for staying with me, everybody, in our chat and in our stream. We are one half of Generation 1 down. We're gonna keep going with the rest of Gen 1. As we come out of the break, we also covered this before. We now have the we already had S plus and S, but now we have the A plus, B minus, C minus tiers added. So before we do, let's do a little bit of housekeeping. Venusaur is going to go up to the A plus. Squirtle, Charizard, Charmeleon, Nidoqueen, and Bloom. As oh boy, I'm going to do this too. These are all in the A plus distinction. And for design work as well, I really am thinking about bringing Victory Bell up. But we will see. We'll see. No, I'm just going to do it. Screw it. Bring Victory Bell up. I just think Victory Bell is such a uniquely designed Pokemon. So that is our new S or A plus. I'm not going to bring any of the S's down. They're there for a reason. I like all these Pokemon dearly. They're great. I think these are all good A Pokemon for what they are. I think these are good B pluses. Maybe I was a little harsh on Charmander before, but not. I still don't think I was very wrong in that. And then we're gonna hit our B minus category, and this is where I'm kind of rethinking some of my decisions. I will put Nidorino down in the B minus. Bring Venomoth down here. Bring Fearow down here. Arbok will go down here. You know what? I'm even gonna bring Tentacruel down here. I think they're all good Pokemon, but they're B minus Pokemon. And I think they deserve more of that distinction. And B is kind of like it's a good middle ground that has a lot of okay, I like it, but or these are great, but I'm not crazy about it. So there's a balance there. And from the C minus, we're gonna have to break some down. Ekans is a C minus. Golbat's a C minus. Weepinbell is a C minus for sure. Weepinbell is the only one I think might go all the way down. Yeah, I'm just gonna do it. Weepinbell's a D. I don't like Weepinbell. It's a very oddly unique design in the wrong way. And from that perspective, I gotta put Weepinbell at the D. So these are our new distinctions. Still no F tier, but now we have a little bit more of a balanced look here as we make our distinctions. So as we go through, we have Golem. Golem's going to be up here towards our B-ish category for me, I think. I like Golem. I like the magma-like boulder look to Golem, but then it almost becomes reptilian, lizard-like almost coming out of it. It's just a different, interesting way to attack that kind of a design. Is it simplistic? Sure. I could use some more color contrast, but at least there is color contrast through the piping of the rock versus the veining of the rock versus like a Graveler where there's just like one note. Whereas Geodude at least kind of small enough to get away with it. Graveler's too big to get away with something. Yeah, Golem is a B for number 76. Ponyta! I think Ponyta is high on my list. I like Ponyta a lot. Yeah, people could say it's simplistic. It is simplistic, but it's a fun Pokemon nonetheless. Keep looking at these guys. Let me do that. I love Butterfree, but Butterfree might be. Clefable, I'm still thinking of. Ponyta is just. People can say, "Oh, it's simplistic. It's still basic." Yeah, but again, basic can be very good. The piping of the flame work is beautiful. If you actually look at, if you zoom in on a Ponyta design, which I have done, because they have something for my region for Ponyta. If you look at that fire design, there's a lot of texture there. There's a lot of unique detail in there that doesn't immediately pop off. But Ponyta is a really fun design, and I like Ponyta a lot. It's adorable. Again, could be your friend. That's what Pokemon are supposed to be. Love Ponyta. Ponyta is great. Rapidash. Rapidash is also kind of high. I'm going to put it right next to Ponyta. I think Ponyta is more appealing because it has the cutesy nature, but the wild flame look of Rapidash really brings it up a notch. Actually, I'm thinking of the wild nature of it, and I kind of dig it more. um, yeah, I think that's fair. Looking at Raichu, kind of going, man, I'm not sure. Um, Now I'm thinking I don't like Kakuna and Metapod as much as some of these guys, but I just love the unique design work of them. So I'm going to bring them down to the B plus. But I still think very high marks for these two. If you caught the earlier parts of the stream, I had them up at the A because the unique. Then we didn't have the B plus category. I think they'd go B plus. Same deal. I think I'm going to move Pidgeot down to the B plus because it's kind of there. I'll do that because I like it. But yeah, Rapidash, those wild flames, they just look powerful, and it goes with the majesty of the character design. Again, character design. It's not just creature design, character design. I love Rapidash's vibe. Rapidash is a great Pokemon. Now we're gonna hear Slowpoke. Slowpoke, what up, my boy? Slowpoke is an S. Adore Slowpoke. Slowpoke, only behind Psyduck, maybe, is the derp vibe. What a dumb, derpy, fun Pokemon with these cutesy little ears. Again, not full on bubblegum pink, but the pink tone just makes it very inviting and fun. Who doesn't want to have a Slowpoke as a friend? I love Slowpoke. Slowpoke's dope. And Slowbro I like, but not as much as Slowpoke. I really like the character design elements of it and the storytelling of it, though. So I don't like it as much as Victory Bell. I'll put it in an A. It's still high A, but I love the storytelling elements. So the design work brings it up higher. I'm just not as huge fan of Slowbro as I am Slow. Slowpoke's so cute and inviting. I want Slowpoke to be my friend. Or Slowbro, it's cool, but I don't want it to be my friend immediately compared to other Pokemon. And that's where I gotta go. A. Love the tail work. That's very fun off tail. That's pretty cool. Don't know about the belly though. That kind of throws me off, but it's still fun. And it's still derpy, but not as derpy and cool as Slowpoke. Magnemite. Magnemite's such a weird little fun Pokemon. I'm going to put Magnemite all the way at the B plus category. I think Magnemite's really cool. It's one of those that I thought was really stupid as a kid, and as I've grown older, I've continually liked it more and more because it's just so weird and unique. Screws and magnets and a magnetic ball with an eye. It's just like, what does it mean? Why does it? Doesn't matter. It's just kind of a fun, unique way to add a Pokemon. I like Magnemite. Magnemite's cool. Magneton, kind of the Doug Trio vibe again. Problems with the Doug Trio, but at least this is really cool and leads to something. I like Magneton, but not as much as Magnemite. I'm most fan of Magnezone, but that's not in this generation. But I like the color contrast of the polarities with the blue and red. I like the deeper, blacker colors of the magnet and the screws. That's really cool. And I love the idea of magnets attracting, so at least there's a reason for the three. Whereas Doug Trio, it's just like, there's three of them. Magneton, at least there's like a logic and a reason to it, so I like that element of Magneton. Farfetch'd. Farfetch'd is my boy. I love duck Pokemon. I love ducks. I love Farfetch'd. I love the leak. It's such a unique, interesting. I love the mohawk look of the feathers. It just gives it a vibe. I love the black mark suggesting like an angry eyebrow. It's just a unique, fun design. But it hits duck. It's simplistic, but it's fun. And using a leak as a weapon is such a weird, unique choice that I love Farfetch'd. Farfetch'd is cool. I love Farfetch'd. Farfetch'd is dope. Doduo, on the other hand, I like Doduo, but Doduo is not great. I'll put Doduo at the B minus category. Um, yeah, I think that's fair. I keep looking at some of these guys in here and thinking they might go down and Doduo might be around there. I like Doduo's kind of weird, derpy nature. And I like the footwork here. It's a very fun little unique design. The brown is an odd choice. Wish it was a slightly different. Um, but I love the long stork-like beak. It's just interesting. I like that. Whereas Dodrio, just there's a tude there that brings it up to B. I think I might still like Doduo more because it's friendly and inviting. But I love the idea of, again, there's a weird three thing going on in a fun way. And I like the color contrast from the feathers. But again, it falls into the Firo trap where there's color contrast there, but not enough, and the brown is too dominating of it. And then even if the feathers and this area down here were a different color besides black, it'd give a much better vibe to it. But fun vibe off the three, going from the two to the three, more of a Hydra-like vibe. Very fun. I like that for Dodrio. So Dodrio's a solid B. Seal, here's where you don't have much to say, but you just like it. Like Seal. Seal's fun. Seal's friendly. But it's a big white seal. And its name is literally Seal. I don't know what else to say. I like the fountain-like look of the tail. That's a unique little fun thing. But other than that, it's just like, okay, it's a seal. B minus. Dugong, I like Dugong a little bit more because I think the fins have a little bit more majesty to them. Again, both could really use some color, but this is almost like, this is because it has the weird seal-like face in the taupe tan, like light tan, off-white color throws it off. Where Dugong having the more flowing fins and going with the pure white look is it's just a vibe that I kind of dig, and I like Dugong because of that. And I appreciate Dugong for what it is. I like Dugong, so I'm gonna put Dugong up at the B. It's a really solid B category, but I think the all white look is a very nice, clean, interesting vibe. Grimer, ooh, Grimer and Muck. I think they're underrated. Really, I think they're really fun, underrated Pokemon. Grimer. Ooh, if you're lurking in the chat section, hit me up with some comments because I'd love to hear your ideas. Grimer here. I'll put Grimer at the B minus category for now. I'm gonna put it at B. I like it more than some of these. I just love the melting sludge look of it, and the face looks like a weird mutant that just became a living being, which is kind of Grimer's vibe. So I like that. Alolan Grimer I appreciate a little bit more, but I really appreciate Grimer for what it is. And Muck is cool. Muck just looks like a monster. I love Muck goes to the B plus category because of that. I've rarely even seen it in the anime, so it can't even be like I like the anime version of it. I just love how monstrous this thing looks. It looks like a big sludge or rock monster or mud monster. It's got a Clayface vibe, and as a huge Batman fan, that really appeals to me. And I love the subtle color variation to give off the melting Mudman vibe that Muck has. Muck's great. Love Muck. Shelder's cute. Shelder's fun. Shelder's inviting. The tongue out is such a cool little nod. I like Shelder a lot actually. So I just keep going. No, I like it more. No, I like it more. No, I like it more. Here. Yeah, I like Shelder a lot. Shelter's fun, but I don't know if my level of loving it is better than some of these Pokemon that I may not like as much, but have better designs in my opinion. Shelter with the purple, but with that black face and tongue is so much fun that I really enjoy have happening. So I really enjoy that this is here doing what it does. That's really cool. So yeah, fun stuff over here for Shelter. I just love that tongue design. It just looks like it just a little punk, and I like that. Cloyster. I get the jokes and everything. I like Cloyster a lot. I love the spiky armor look that Cloyster has. Um, the purple is still fun, but then getting that more silver-esque gray is very cool. But the spiking look, and they almost kind of look like ores to give another nod to water. Really fun. Um, Unique design. I get it. Everyone loves to make the jokes of what Cloyster is, and especially with the trainers that have an Onyx and a Cloyster. You're like, oh, I wonder what that is. I get that everyone likes to make the jokes, but you know, Cloyster's a cool Pokemon, and it looks like a defensive monster, which is really fun. And it very much tells a story and a vibe. So I think Cloyster's got to be, B. Actually, I think because of the story, I'm going to take Cloyster up higher. I like Cloyster a lot, actually. Ghastly. I like Ghastly. Question is, how much do I like Ghastly? Because again, it's a basic ghost. The wisping ghost vibe is cool, but if you literally look at it, Cloyster face, Ghastly face. What's different? The smile and the teeth. That's it, and maybe a hair of brow. But even the color scheme, it's so similar. Very unique, interesting vibe here. But I really do like Ghastly. I love its like Abra, but as much as you guys. Keep just looking at the order now, unfortunately. But Ghastly, I love the wisping gas, but the gas around it to make it more apparition like. Very fun, and I love those eyes. They're so simplistic, and people say, "Oh, Gen 1 eyes." They're such a fun, pointy eye, and they look villainous, and they look like something that's gonna mess you up. Ghastly should have that vibe. I like that for Ghastly. Haunter is S plus category. Love me a Haunter. Haunter is so much fun. Haunter is Ghost Pokemon. I understand Gengar gets all the love, but Haunter is such a far more unique, fun, and more importantly, interesting ghost vibe. The floating hands that are unattached to the body, the menacing smile, the spike but still wisping design of the back piece. Everything about Haunter is cool. Haunter's just cool. I far prefer Haunter to Gengar. I like Gengar, but it ain't Haunter. Haunter's super cool. I wish I could just go and flip him, because it'd be much better that way. Haunter's just so cool. It's so cool. Gengar. Again, I like Gengar. Gengar ain't bad, but Gengar. I have Gengar at B plus. I know a lot of people love Gengar. I'll move it up to an A, I guess. Like Gengar's cool, but it's just not Haunter, and Haunter's such a far more unique, interesting vibe, and I like that a lot more than the rest. So I gotta go. Gengar's an A. It's still a good Pokemon. I like Ghastly more, but Ghastly's a little more basic. Where like there's a mischievous nature that works for Gengar's Ghost vibe that is cool in its design work. It's just not nearly as visually appealing to me as Haunter's. Haunter's such a unique and interesting and appealing vibe, in my opinion. Haunter's so cool, and Gengar is cool, but not as cool. Onyx, Rock Snake. We're closing in on the Hundy mark. It's a Rock Snake. Don't hate it. but it's a rock snake. Horn's a little interesting. I like the segmentation and the interpretation of it. Again, I think it's the same thing as kind of Graveler. Needs more color contrast, but at least with the shading, you get that more. Um, I just wish there was a little bit more of color contrast. Onyx is cool, but I think Onyx is another classic example of one of those Pokemon that felt really cool in Gen 1, but then as you got more Pokemon, you're like, yeah, it's okay. Um, so yeah, Onyx is just kind of bland, but it's still fun. Drowsy, I've come to enjoy a lot more. Very interesting Pokemon. It's brought down by its evolution for me, but I like Drowsy. I like Drowsy's look. I like Drowsy's feel. As I continually adjust. I love this wave pattern. Almost like a brain wave. Very cool. I love that tapier nose. It looks like something that eats dreams to a degree, and I think that's a really fun, unique design. Wish it was a slightly different color combination, but not the worst. It's time. That's what I'm talking about, Angie. Thank you for joining the stream, my friend. But I like Drowsy's vibe, and I think it's really a fun, unique vibe. And I love the brainwave like pattern. I just wish it was a slightly different color combination. Hypno. I ain't gonna lie, Hypno kind of sucks. It's like I like Hypno's fine. Hypno's like mid. Hypno is mid. I love the little piece. I love the little timepiece trying to mesmerize you. That's interesting, but like, and I know it's based off some Japanese lore. I can't believe you put Evan backwards in C tier, C minus. I mean that's where Ekans belongs, my dude. That's where Ekans belongs. Um, but Hypno, like, it's just weird, and I don't know how you go from Drowsy to Hypno. It makes no sense. That's another one I might revisit later on and give Drowsy a new evolution to in my own Pokemon. Regional designs. I think that could be a really interesting, unique way to keep more of the tapir look and not the Japanese myth look. I know what Hypno's based off of. It's an interesting idea. Just don't know if it really attaches to Drowsy that well. And I think it's just a little too removed. But Drowsy's way cooler than Krabby. Ooh, this is gonna be one just because I like it. Krabby, low B. It's Crab, but I like it. Krabby's fun. Krabby's just fun. I like that he's Krabby. I like that Krabby's Krabby. However, Kingler is a vibe. I really like Kingler. I like Kingler more than a lot of Pokemon, actually. I'm gonna put it at the B plus because it's it looks just like more of a developed Krabby. There isn't a true like evolution, I guess, element of it. But I love how like one claw becomes super enormous. I love the more menacing grin that it gets. I love that the eyes are just weird. I love the crown type look off the shell. So there is some very unique, interesting design elements to it that I think are really, really cool and really fun. So with that being said, that's why I gotta put Kingler up at that B plus vibe. I mean, Kingler is a vibe. There are a few Pokemon that are just a vibe like Kingler from the standpoint of Gen 1. And now we are on our last Pokemon of this little bit of the session. Voltorb. We're always splitting up evolutionary lines. My gosh. Voltorb. I'll put Voltorb at the B. I'll put it at the B category. It's for the game mechanic, not the design. The design is obviously angry, explosive Pokeball. Cool. But I'm guessing you haven't done Mr. Mime yet because I don't see anything in F tier. Yeah, more on that. More later. Voltorb, it's a really interesting in-game concept when Gen 1 was so graphically limited. To have Voltorb as this like, explosive thing that could blow up in your face while trying to be greedy and find an item. That was kind of the messaging behind Voltorb. So the angry industrial interpretation of Voltorb gets a B plus. It's a B ranking for me. But just a metallic ball that explodes, and there's nothing really visually interesting except the eyebrow. look to it and the angry eye. So it's a B. It's right there. But still, fun little Pokemon. But that is 1 through 100. We have 51 left. As always, I'm going to take a quick 60-second break here. Once you're done cheering for the night, I have a question. I would love to answer your question when we're done cheering for the night. But if it's Pokemon related, I would love to be able to answer it now for you. But we're going to go BRB for about 60 seconds just so I can hydrate, get some water, keep the voice. So, BRB. We're back. See that Kramer as many times as it possibly can. So we have just made it through the first 100 Pokemon of the National Pokedex, and we have 51 left in Generation 1. Here are our rankings as far. We got 3 Ds, 2 Cs. I'm sorry, 2 C minuses. 7 Cs, 8 B minuses. Ooh, what is this? 12 per list. Okay. 12, 24, 27 Bs. 13 B plus, 11 A's, 10 A pluses, 8 S, and 6 S pluses. So it's pretty balanced, well done generation in my opinion. But as we go into the last 51 Pokemon, where I think we're going to see a lot of variance, but it'll be fun to do that. Now, as we were going into a break, I got a pretty good question here from one of our viewers, my best friend here. If you had to cut one Pokemon from each tier, who would you cut? I just need some context on, does that mean I'd have to cut it down to another, down a tier, or just like get rid of that Pokemon from the entire existence of Pokemon in general? Because I think those are two wildly different ways to interpret that question. I just need to ask what your interpretation of that question is so I can help you out. Remove it from entire existence. Wow, we're going full on hard mode. So let's do this. Yeah, we'll save that for the end, but I will keep thinking about it. Maybe I'll hint at it as I'm going along, but we'll answer all that question once we get all 151 ranked. But that is a great question that I want to get back to. And thank you for everyone who's joining the stream right now. Very much appreciate it. Even if you're lurking, if you just want to say hi, love to give you a hi back in person so I can give you as much as I possibly can. But we are at Pokemon 101 with Electrode. Electrode is the definition of C. Angry ball. I like its eyes. I don't like its smile. And it just literally just went upside down Voltorb. and it looks more manic, which is the eyes are fun. I don't like the rest of the Pokemon. It's a C. Um, so that's what I'd say for Electrode. Now, as we go through here, we've got ourselves Execute. So with Execute, I really like this idea. I just love this idea of eggs all together and just being kind of menaces together. Um, I like Execute a lot actually. And I'm looking at my rankings again. I'm gonna put these guys down here more. I'm gonna put Tentacle behind there. I just like Krabby, so Krabby all the way here. That's just for me. I like Krabby. It's just for me. I like Krabby. That's why Krabby keeps moving up. Um, and yeah, now I'm thinking some of these guys are going to make it back down towards the B minus category. Um, uh, but going to Execute. They're adorable, but I love the idea of all these cracked eggs being menaces together, squatting up. It's a very fun little unique design and concept choice. And I love the yolk. That yolk is so important for this design because it gives it that really needed personality and color contrast to it, which I think is really good. And that's why I really enjoy it. Um, so like that's where I would say um, I really enjoy Execute full on design here. Um, However, my friends, I am getting something that I got to take care of quick, so I'm going to be BRB with the rest of our Pokemon. Hang tight with me. We're back. Life, life, my friends, life. But here we are. We're back to what we're doing. We barely started this session of Pokemon. So execute is only Pokemon 102, so we made it two into this. So that's okay. Just a hair bit of editing on my portion later on, but that's okay. Alrighty. So, because I got to reuse this. I got to be smart about my choices here. Um, so we went to execute. I really like this yoke of execute. I think it's a really important touch to give kind of the broken nature of these Pokemon together. Um, I think that does a lot for its character design personally, and it has a lot of much needed color contrast. Just that little bit of yellow brings a lot out in this Pokemon, which is great. So I gotta say, execute B fair. Executor. Don't know how it got from execute to executor. But I'll put it right there. I like executor. It's just such a weird, random Pokemon, but it fits and it works. And I love the leaves coming out of the top. I love the coconut like vibe. I just wish these two had more unity between them, and that would be far more interesting to what we're doing with some of our Pokemon. Just cleaning some stuff up. But yeah, I still think they're a very unique, interesting Pokemon grouping. I do like Executor. It's just very odd Pokemon to kind of go. So it's a nice B. Cubone. Cubone's an S. I love Cubone. Um, I love Cubone because of the storytelling element. It's interesting and unique enough on its own, just holding a bone and being a darker shaded kind of shaped Charmander. That's interesting enough on its own. But then when you add the skull helmet and you get the lore behind it that it's Dead's mother's skull, that is so rad and such a wonderful character element to the design. Cubone is so great. For character design alone, I want to bring it higher. I just don't like it as much as some of these, and so much of this is based on love that I put Cubone there. But Cubone is such a cool Pokemon that I gotta say I love Cubone and I love the storytelling of Cubone. Very fun. S tier Pokemon for sure. Marowak, on the other hand, Marowak I have all the way down to C. I don't hate Marowak. It's just such a downfall from Arbok down to this category as well. Marowak, with the skull becoming almost a fusion to its head, and it's no longer um, you know, as it becomes a fusion of the head as opposed to wearing a skull, it takes on a very weird and strange vibe. It doesn't make a whole lot of sense. I still like the bone and element of it, but it just I don't know. It feels far less than Cubone. Cubone has an adorable nature to it and also a very compelling story. Marowak doesn't have either as much, and that's why I gotta say it drops all the way down to a C for me personally. Hitmonlee, such a weird, unique, and interesting Pokemon. I'll put it all the way up. I'll put it at a B plus. Honestly, it's the spring legs. It's got that weird Looney Tune like body, but then these spring legs and a very interesting, unique elements to it. Very fun. I like Hitmonlee a lot, and Hitmonchan pretty much same deal. I like Hitmonchan more. I prefer Hitmonchan. Um, I like them both as a duo. I think it's a very interesting concept between punches versus kicks, kickboxing versus boxing. all those elements. I get why people would say like, why is Hitmonchan wearing clothes? I don't know, but why are half these Pokemon doing what they're doing? I don't know, but I like it, and I like the crown style head. I like the boxing gloves. I think the boxing gloves could probably be a different color, and it'd be okay. I think that might be another problem for people personally, but I still think they're a fun, unique duo of a B plus quality, and they're fun. I like the shoulder pad look of Hitmonchan a lot. I like that. Oh, Lickitung. I don't like Lickitung. This is more a reflection of other Pokemon than it is. Ugh, boy. I'm gonna put Weedle down at the C category. I'm thinking about these guys too. Lickitung. I need more color contrast for it. The full pink is a little too off-putting for me. It just feels kind of ugh. Just ugh. I don't like it. Interesting design. I love the idea of just them being like, what can I design a Pokemon off of? A tongue. Like it's an interesting challenge that I would love to take on as an artist, but I hate the execution of this Lickitung. To me, it needs far more color contrast, and it doesn't get it. So I just don't like Lickitung. Lickitung is weird, and I just ugh, don't like it. Coughing. I like coughing. Coughing is more for these guys. These guys. Um, I like that coughing is this poisonous little ball. I love the skull and crossbones. I love the smog and poison clouds around it. Very fun, unique thing to do. It's kind of almost like a poisonous grenade. That's very fun. Um, but at the same time, a little simplistic, but I do think it's a nice B tier Pokemon. Very interesting and unique vibe with coughing. Wheezing. I don't like wheezing as much as coughing because there's something kind of cutesy about coughing. But I will say, I love the character style growth of it being this like goiter or nuclear mutated thing, very Mad Max esque, coming off of a coughing to where it's like a mini coughing showed up on a coughing and the coughing evolved and just kind of got stuck with this giant growth. So that I kind of dig from wheezing. So wheezing is an interesting design concept. I just don't like it. Rhyhorn. Rhyhorn. Again, it's a nice, strong design. Rhyhorn's a very interesting take on a rhinoceros for me. I like that it inherently has a rocky stone look to it. I like the segmentation. Very armored. I like it a lot. And I like how it doesn't inherently give steel type, but you could believe it could be steel type too, which is an interesting design concept, but it works for it. Well, if other Pokemon teetered too much to another type, I wouldn't like it as much. Really like Rhyhorn's overall armored look though. Very fun, and I like catching Rhyhorn. Rhyhorn's one of those Pokemon that I always like. Oh, maybe I should put a Rhyhorn on my team. I like Rhyhorn. Rhyhorn's kind of cool. Good beat Pokemon. Rhyhorn is real cool because it's like a rhino, but like a rhino do kind of be like a Pokemon. Yeah, a rhino do kind of be like a Pokemon is a great way to say Rhyhorn, but it's a great interpretation of turning something into a Pokemon. Where a lot of people would probably argue something like a Pidgey, Caterpie, it's more like a wow, that's just a pigeon. Wow, that's just a caterpillar. Or Geodude, wow, that's just a rock. Where like Rhyhorn does have that inherent Pokemon quality to it, so I think that's a very interesting way to bring it on. Rhydon. I like Rhydon. I'll put Rhydon up at the B. I want to put it higher because I like Rhyhorn. And I like Rhydon, and I think it's a really interesting way to show growth. I wish it had still. That's where I can rethink it. I like how monstrous it looks. I like how Caterpie is secretly S tier. I don't know if I can agree with that. Teach their own. I can't say Caterpie is an S tier. I'm comfortable with it being B tier though. I wish Rhydon had more of the armored look that Rhyhorn does. But iconic in its own way. Like the drill horn to it. This is a great way to do it, and I think Rhyperior goes way too far in wrong directions for me personally. That Rhydon does not. I think Rhydon's a great way of showing evolution and change while still having a unified look with Rhyhorn. So I think Rhydon's a good Pokemon as well. B tier. Chansey. Chansey's just kind of mid. It's just kind of there for me. I like it. I like the little wispy, dumb hair. Um, it's kind of fun. Keep looking at coughing and want to put coughing there. I will. I'm gonna put coughing higher. Can't believe I like coughing that much. Actually, I like wheezing a lot more than these guys. I keep like rethinking half the stuff as I'm doing it. I like Bellsprout more. Just like how stupid and derpy Bellsprout is. Uh, I'm elongating this section, but alas. But Chansey, I like the wisping little hair. I like the color contrast of the hair with the tips being a darker pink. I like the egg. I like that whole vibe. Very fun, cutesy little Pokemon. Chansey's not my favorite Pokemon, but it's a fun little mid tier Pokemon. Tangela. Tangela is a very unique Pokemon that I do enjoy quite a bit. Tangela, I'm going to put all the way up at the A category because of that. And especially by Gen 1 designs, Tangela is a very complex design. But I love this idea of it's like the Lickitung thing, the challenge. Oh, what can I make a Pokemon? Ramen. But Tangela looks like this creature that's been just embodied and encased in ramen in a very unique, fun way. And it's just very fun and just a unique Pokemon. And I love the eyes just popping out, peering out. They're piercing. They're almost kind of like Morticia Addams vibes. If you're an Addams Family person, I like that Tangela has that bit of a vibe with the odd stretches of tangled ramen. I think it's a very fun, unique design. Kangaskhan. Ooh, I like Kangaskhan a lot. Kangaskhan, I'm gonna put all the way to the B plus category right away. Ooh, Trace is crying again for no reason. That's great. I love this interpretation of a kangaroo. Actually, I'm gonna put it all the way on the A category. I like Kangaskhan a lot. I love the idea of this like super powerful mother type Kangaskhan vibe. I think that's a really interesting way. I love the clawed look. This is such an interpretation of how could I make a kangaroo a Pokemon, not how can I make a kangaroo Pokemon. That makes sense? How can I make this a Pokemon versus how can I make a Pokemon like this? That's an interesting way to do. Well, another little one. Come here. Trace has entered the chat. See if I can grab him quick. And he ran away. He ran away before I even could get out of my seat. I just thought it'd be fitting to do parental stuff with my kitty cat right here. I love that the Joey's there too, so there's just a different energy and vibe to Kangaskhan. I love the storytelling elements of Kangaskhan. It's just a really fun, powerful Pokemon that I like quite a bit. Cleanup. But it's very fun to get that. And I do think it's appropriate color choicing, which I do appreciate. Horsey, I love Horsey. Horsey's adorable. Sorry, I keep doing. I'll fix it later. But I love Horsey. Horsey's adorable. Horsey again has the vibes of Jigglypuff, of Poliwhirl, of Clefairy. You just want to be its friend. Horsey is such an adorably cute Pokemon. Gives the water vibes. Gives a slight dragon nod where it needs to. Very unique little spikes, giving it some mystique to it. I just like Horsey. Horsey's a fun little Pokemon. And I love the popping blue color. That popping blue color really works, and very smart use of primary colors, or at least shades of primary colors here with Horsey. Very fun vibe. And Seadra, I am all about Seadra. Seadra is a phenomenal Pokemon. Actually, I'm going to bring Seadra all the way up to territory. I love the snout design with all the angular spikes of Seadra. It looks like a far more powerful version of Horsey. That is very fun for me. I like the more armored, scaled look of the stomach region and the belly region. That's really cool. I like the swirled tail getting even bigger, giving a wave connotation. I just love the angular features. Very much nods to where it goes as a dragon type. Very, very cool. A great way to pull that all together. I like Seadra a lot. Seadra is an A plus. And we're gonna go Goldeen. Goldeen's just a. I like Goldeen. I got no beef with Goldeen. I guess I like it here. Oh, but actually, you know what? I like Goldeen, but Goldeen is like the closest to B minus without being B minus I can get. Um, it's there, and it has a horn. I like the flowing tail fin. That's about it. Other than that, I don't know if I can say I really enjoy a lot of. But Goldeen is cool. Sea King. Sea King is a fish. I wish I had more to tell you. B minus. I like the design because I like the color contrast elements of Sea King. I like the striping and I like these little dots. I think there is something in game about Goldeen that's more appealing. Where when you get a Sea King, you're like, "That's what this evolves into, huh?" Um, so I like Goldeen, and I really actually enjoy the design of Sea King more. I just think Sea King's kind of a for me personally because I think Goldeen wants to take you to a more majestic, very pretty fish-like, and then you're just kind of like, oh, I get this weird, ugly, very fish-like thing. Staryu. I like Staryu. Staryu. I wish we had a little bit different color contrasting, but a good, solid Pokemon nonetheless. I'll put in the B tier for now. Um, the star shape obviously helps it. I love the wrapping and the jewel. That's a really cool, unique design. Um, very fun Pokemon, a very underrated Pokemon. I do enjoy Staryu quite a bit. So that was where I would say I like Staryu. It's a solid Pokemon. Just wish it had a little bit different color contrasting choices, but understand why it has that color. That's it. Starmie. Starmie's cool. Starmie's up here in the B plus category. I love the overlapping fish. It's got a. I'm a DC Comics super nerd. It's got a Starro the Conqueror vibe to it, which I really, really enjoy. I love the purple, and I love that giant center jewel encased into that almost gold like no, it's like the captain's mast. It's like the captain's wheel on a ship. It's got that shape to it. I really enjoy those design elements of Starmie. I think they're very fun and cool. I like the purple with it. It's a very interesting and unique way to do it. And it kind of vibes with almost a primary color because there's almost somewhat a blue or purple, not a red or purple. It just works. Starmie is sick. I agree with your comment completely. Starmie is sick. I really enjoy Starmie. And if you joined me for my stream last night, you know that I lost to Misty Starmie and it hurt me. But that's neither here nor there. We don't need to bring up the past. As we go forward, hey, it's our first F tier. Hate Mr. Mime. I hate Mr. Mime. I hate Mr. Mime. This category almost solely exists for Mr. Mime. Mr. Mime is creepy. It's weird. I hate its weird circular suction cup fingers. It's strange. Oh, I really embarrassed myself in front of Christy there. I don't know if I did, because the only thing that could be more embarrassing is a Mr. Mime fan. The weird hair, the weird face, the weird ball look. All these weird elements could work in some other way. They just don't work all together in Mr. Mime. I despise Mr. Mime. Mr. Mime is disgusting. Just so weird, creepy vibes in the wrong way, not the right way. Horror creepy, good vibes. Creepy creepy, not good vibes. Just look at its fingers. No, no, no. Every adjective you use to describe Mr. Mime also applies to yourself. I feel like Mr. Mime hate might actually be self-confidence issues. Makes you think, wow, that's a good best friend right there in the chat feature. Um, just ugh, gross, Mr. Mime. Scyther, on the other hand, Scyther's a great Pokemon. I like Scyther a lot. I'm gonna put Scyther all the way at the A plus category. Um, I like Scyther quite a bit. Um, Actually, I'm gonna do it. Scyther's an S. I love the angular headpiece. I love the praying mantis vibe. I love the praying mantis getting these giant blade arms. That's super cool. I love all the angles and the armored segmentation of it. Still has a very bug-like vibe, but it feels powerful. Total S. Scyther's one that I think I lost the love for a little bit as I grew up, and then now as I've gotten more into the design elements of Pokemon and what I like, and as I'm continually designing my own Pokemon, Scyther is one that I've fallen back in love with because it is such a unique, interesting character to play with, and a very fun, unique bug type. Just such, it is bug type. Like when you think bug type, Scyther is one of the immediate ones that comes to mind, and one of the ones where if you are a bug type fan, it's one of those where I insult the bug catcher class of trainer every single time I play against them in our playthroughs on Twitch. I insult them all the time. The only redeeming Pokemon from Gen 1 that I'm like, I love Butterfree, like Metapod and Kakuna. I like some of these bug types, but they're not like, you can't say like, oh, they've got power and they've got this. They don't have those. Only Pokemon in the bug typing from Gen 1 that's got some metal to it where you're like, okay, yeah, I wouldn't screw around with that, is Scyther. So Scyther's an S. What a great, well designed, cool Pokemon. Scyther's just cool. Jinx is with the F category. I like Jinx more than Mr. Mime just because Mr. Mime gives the wrong vibes. I only like Jinx more than Mr. Mime now. However, if we got the old Jinx, that would be there. I know they fixed it a little bit with the purple tones, but when it was a black tone, it was clearly racial connotations. I don't know how you get away with that even in the 90s. I get it, it's slightly different in Japan. However, you're the highest grossing franchise in all of the world. Pokemon, you need to be responsible. I mean, Jinx is also just kind of weird. It's got the weird fingers. It's got the weird lips. It's got this blonde hair that kind of just goes nowhere. It's kind of like a Viking opera singer kind of vibe. And I've actually seen a Viking opera singer regional variation online somewhere that I give a lot of credit to turn that into something with Jinx to make it more of a redeemable Pokemon. But even as is, it's hard to not remember what it was and the racial connotations to it. So just and also, but it's also got weird vibes as well. It's just creepy, kind of weird vibes. So yeah, I'm not on board with Jinx. Jinx is an F tier, um, for obvious reasons. Where I know there are people who like Mr. Mime. I can't get on board with Mr. Mime. I think most people can agree Jinx. Just there's bad vibes with Jinx, and that's not okay. So Jinx F tier Pokemon, and also not great. And our final Pokemon of this part of the session before we take our final break of the evening, Electabuzz. I think Electabuzz is great. It's a unique Pokemon. I'll put it in the A category right away. I like the tiger striping. I like the electric notes. I love that tiger tail and the weird bulbs coming off its head. I think all of that is tremendous. It's one of those that positively hits you over the head with the design elements. That's really cool. Um, and it looks like a big old monster and something you need on your team. And why Thunder Punch exists. It's perfect signature character note for Electabuzz. Electabuzz is a really cool Pokemon. I like Electabuzz quite a bit, actually. It's one of those, again, where I kind of fell out of love with it, and then I'm still like, no, that's actually pretty cool. But that is 125 of 151. We only have one set of 25/26 now to do, but we're cruising now at this time. We're going to take one final break before I clean all of this up and do all those things. Stick with me as we go through and finish this. And thank you, everyone who's rocking and rolling in the chat and doing what you can. So, by all means, I'll be BRB right back. We're back. Let's get down to business. Not to defeat the Huns like Mulan though. Alrighty, Huns. Came through. So, with brutally destroying that joke, let's get our final 26 Pokemon down. Here we are. I'll clean it up quick as best I possibly can. I'm just doing this more for Pokemon I like. I like Wartortle a lot, but I think these are some very different Pokemon. I like all these. I don't hate the order that they're in. However, I really like Seadra. I'll put Seadra all the way there. Victory Bell. I kind of just dig Victory Bell's vibe. Do that. Go from there. Actually, I like Cadaver more. Really strange. We're going through. We're just cleaning stuff up right now. I like Jigglypuff less than. More so now, getting the stuff I like more, where it belongs. Interesting. Didn't I? Some of these I'm shocking myself with. Like Raichu though. There is some design elements in here. It's not just personal preference though. Alrighty, here, kind of there. Just really like Muck. Like Muck's great. Ghastly up here. And Cloyster up here as well. I just like these purple Pokemon. That's pretty cool. I do like Golduck. I think I'll stop screwing around with this. However, I do like Stormy. Put more there. That'll be fair. Put Charmander back here. I don't hate Charmander though. Also trying. You have music playing. When you stop talking, it cuts the mic off, so it sounds like the music is just cutting in and out and skipping. I do have music playing. I'm sorry that is happening. Not inherently bad, but it makes it sound like you're having connection problems, even though you're not. Okay, that's fair. Thank you for the note. I appreciate that for future notice. It's not loud enough to register with the mic, but it's loud enough to register sometimes, apparently. Okay. B tier, it's such a mess. I don't even want to touch. Here we go. All right, so we're down to our final 26 Pokemon. Magmar. Magmar is actually a. I'll put Magmar at a B minus. I like a lot of elements of Magmar, and then I hate a lot of Eggman. Magmar is a literal butthead, and that I hate. It looks like something stupid out of The Simpsons. I don't like the nods of fire in it. I love these armored sleeves. It's based off of a Kappa, which is a Japanese demon, which is really cool. I just don't like the execution of it. It's just odd shaping. I like the legs, even like the bulbous kneecap style leg joint. It's kind of cool. I love these sleeved arms with the claws. That's all cool. I just don't like the butt head and the face. I think it could all be done in a better way. But Magmar's a B minus for me. I like it more though. Pinsir, same deal. Cool Pokemon, has some problems. Mine being these weird little tendril face things. That doesn't make sense to me. It's an odd Pinsir beetle type thing that's really cool. I think it needs more color contrast. It's helped out a lot by its Mega Evolution, in my opinion. Although the eyes are a little off-putting in that one. But it needs more color contrast to go from a B minus up to you or A possibly. Tauros is just it's just like it's a bull with whipping tails. And again, it's just such he's looking at let's just scroll through. Like I'm just looking basically 1, 2, 3, 4, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, I'm gonna count that one. 23 and 24. This weird obsession with the browns, the brown tones. A lot of like 24 different Pokemon with a similar color palette. It's not great out of 150. Now I get it. It's limited because of Gen 1's capabilities at the time, but just we've redone them throughout the time. Let's get a little bit more pop of color there. Again, it's just like it's a bull with spinning tails. I don't. If you like bulls, cool. If you don't like bulls, it's just kind of mid Pokemon. So I'd be B minus, and just for what it is, I think it's a B minus. I like Tauros even, but just a bull. Magikarp. Magikarp is an S tier Pokemon. I like Magikarp. I love the crown. I love the whiskers. I love the fins. And I love the storytelling elements. And I like the line work to imply the scales here. It's really fun on those notes. Magikarp is an underappreciated Pokemon, but the journey of the in-game mechanic of going from literal trash to one of the most revered Pokemon is very interesting, and I really appreciate that from Magikarp to Gyarados. I think this is a nice color palette of the bright orange and the bright yellow versus a lot of these muted yellow brown combinations that just kind of don't work as well with every Pokemon. So I really like Magikarp, and that pop of white on the fins. Gyarados again. It's a really good Pokemon. I don't like it as an S tier, but I'll have it as a high A plus tier. I'm just looking at Pokemon I like more than that. I like Gyarados. I wish it kept more orange notes a little bit here. Just some accents of orange would be very cool. The blue is almost like off-putting how you go from like this bright orange to this like royaler aqua blue. But such a unique, fun, based off of Eastern style dragons. Very cool. It's called the atrocious Pokemon for a reason. It looks atrocious in all the right ways. Great Pokemon all around. Is it probably a little overrated? Probably. But Gyarados is popular for a reason, just like Charizard, because there is some really good design elements to it. And I personally like Gyarados. It's just not my favorite Pokemon. But A plus Pokemon nonetheless. Lapras. A Plesiosaur, very cool. I like Lapras. I don't know if I like Lapras as much as other people do. This is where we'll go personal bias and just clean some stuff up. I think, for me personally, Kingler's an A. Muck is an A, and Ghastly's an A. I'm just kind of redoing things on the fly, and Cloyster's an A as well. I like all these Pokemon. I like them more than Lapras, but I like Lapras, and I think Lapras is an A-style, A-tier Pokemon. I do like the color contrast. I like the armored shell look on the back, and I like the swirled ears. It's just friendly and kind, which is one of the appealing parts about Lapras for a lot of people. So I like Lapras. Lapras is fun. So with all that being said, though, A tier. It's not as high for me as others, but I like Lapras. A very friendly environment. Ditto. So Ditto, just for the concept, will go in the B tier, even though I'm not like crazy about Ditto. But again, it's kind of like the Voltorb thing. It's a amorphous blob of pink goo. But the metamorphosis transformation being able to apply to every Pokemon, it makes sense that it would be this amorphous pile of goo. But again, on its own merits, just for the design, not very high, but the game mechanic higher. Ditto's a B tier Pokemon. Eevee, I don't want to get punched by my wife when she eventually sees this. S plus tier Pokemon. Cute, it's adorable. I always bring this up. I love that it's the evolution Pokemon and all the possibilities for it. It's an adorable, beautiful Pokemon on its own. But I love how the tail looks like a paintbrush to imply the idea of creation. At least that's how I interpret it. And unlimited possibilities through artistic interpretation with Eevee is great for a Pokemon with all these different iterations of Eevee. So creation can take you in all these different ways. I think that's honestly one of the one of the best, if not the best, concept for Pokemon the entire franchise has ever done. So I gotta say, Eevee's high on that list, and S plus because of that note. Eevee's just a great Pokemon, and shout out to my wife Ab because it's her favorite Pokemon as well. Vaporeon, I'm a big Vaporeon fan actually, to the point where I'll put it up in the S category. I love the scaled tail, the mermaid tail. That's beautiful. I love the collar and the finned ears. Just such a unique and fun design. I love Vaporeon's vibe, and a very interesting, cool one at that. I just keep it up because I like it more. Vaporeon is such a great Pokemon. Great coloration, great color contrasting, but hits the water vibe perfectly in all these unique ways. Love Vaporeon. Vaporeon is a phenomenal Pokemon. Jolteon. Jolteon's a good Pokemon, but not a tremendous Pokemon. Where did my Jolteon go? It's not a C minus. I've come to enjoy Jolteon a hair bit more over time than I used to, but Jolteon's still a B for me. I like all the spikes looking almost pin-like to incorporate the idea of electricity without all lightning bolt. It looks more static energy-esque. And I like those side pieces that flare out more like traditional would do. And I really like the ear choices. I just wish it had. Vaporeon has a lot more contrasting detail to make it better, where Jolteon's kind of just it spikes, which is why younger kids, specifically younger boys, love Jolteon. Like it's spiky. But Vaporeon has so many more wonderful design notes that I think are really impressive for what we're doing here. Why Vaporeon would be an S and Jolteon would be a B. Flareon, Flareon, I'm not a huge fan of. Flareon will be a B tier Pokemon. I'm not a huge Flareon fan. I think that it's of all the ways to show fire, like Eevee, you can get away with doing the evolutions. You can get away with doing a little bit more on the nose designs, and make them elegant. And this was just kind of like it turned orange and got fluffier. And that's all that really happened with Flareon, and that's why I'm not crazy about Flareon. Which is why actually I'm going to bring Flareon down to a B minus. And I think design-wise I like it less than Magmar, but I like Flareon as a Pokemon more than I like Magmar, which is why I'm toying with the rankings. Yeah, my gosh, I just Flareon's just not that unique or fun of a Pokemon. Porygon's a fun Pokemon. Fun Pokemon. I'm gonna put it at the B plus for the concept. And while I'm here, I'm also Shelter up because I love Shelter. I love this polygonal, very hard-edged Pokemon stuck with all these very rounded Pokemon. It's a very fun, unique way to handle things, and I appreciate that. And I love the primary color usage again. It's a great way to contrast. And if you're going to have a computer AI generated Pokemon, it makes sense that it go primary, colors and do things of that nature and make it more prism like. A very fun, unique way to handle that idea with Porygon. So Porygon's a B plus Pokemon. Home stretch. One row left to go. And for those still in stream, thank you for powering through with me. Love to get a little jolt of energy as I'm about to answer that question of yours as well. All right, we're gonna go Omanite. I really like Omanite. I love the little mollusk mustache. That's such a fun, unique design, and I love the swirling tail and the segmentation of the line work of the mollusk-like tail. Do me fossil boy. That's a Helix fossil though. But I like Omanite a lot. Omanite's a B plus Pokemon. I like Omanite quite a bit actually. Now I'm seeing why I have these as pluses, but I love the design work, which is why they were higher during the beginning parts of our stream. Same deal. I like Abra, but there. Bring these boys back here. Wow. I didn't think Butterfree was going to drop that much, but I had to do it. But yeah, I just love the fun. It just Omanite looks fun. It looks so adorable and cute. I love Omanite. Whereas Omastar, more Star of the Conqueror vibes. It is a unique, cool Pokemon. I just don't like it nearly as much as I like. I do like the spikes and Shurian style helmet look. That is cool. Very Roman-esque pauldron. I like that. I don't like the eyes. I don't like the mouth though. And the tentacles make it weird. It goes from this little cutesy mustache looking mollusk to like weird alien like vibe, which I understand for some of the, you know, ocean creatures that Omanite would be based off of, or Omastar would be based off of. Just I'm not an Omastar guy, and I love Omanite a lot. So that's why I have Omastar as a B. Kabuto. I like Kabuto. Kabuto will be in this kind of range of our B territory. Here it is. I like Kabuto from the red glowing eyes, but it's got these beady eyes on the top. Very interesting way to show the color contrast, but the character contrast as well. Good, obvious dome fossil reference there. You know why it would be called the dome fossil. The dome shaped at the back is cool. Again, these brown tones, but at least it's a fossil Pokemon, so I can kind of get behind it and go through it and be done with it. So that's very cool. 5, 6, 7, 11. I have 11 more Pokemon. We've got through 140. I'm going to take one quick break because my eyes are freaking out on me. And I will be right back. We're back! We got 10 left. Let's power through. Hit that chat feature. Let's power through. um, as we're going forth, I have 10 Pokemon left or 11 Pokemon left. Last 11. Let's do it. Oh, yeah. Yep, 11 Pokemon. All right, Kabutops. Just need that one little extra bit of help. I really like Kabutops. I'm going to put Kabutops all the way up here. I'm going to split these two guys. Do it that way. So this is where inherently it's been 3 hours, so not the most surprising. Yeah, exactly. Is your throat drying out? No, that too. My throat is drying out a little bit. This actually is taking longer than the last time I did it, which is crazy because I feel like I've been keeping pace a lot more. But the breaks I think have helped and other things as well. It's just I also had some personal business to attend to on the phone lines that I had to hit up, so I had to take care of that one. But alas, 3 hours into this stream, we have 10 Pokemon left. I like Kabutops, love the sickle arms. It looks like a weird fossil brought back to life as this weaponized Pokemon. I really enjoy that vibe. I like that as a Stingray vibe, even though that's not the true inspiration. I like the clawed feet. I like the armored look, very fossil-like. I always like Kabutops. I wish I got an Omanite like Kabuto or a Kabutops level evolution because I like Omanite more than I like Kabuto, but I like Kabutops way more than I like Omastar. Same, and so I'd say that's why I'm always doing the things I do in Gen 1, always picking Dome Fossil over Helix. Alrighty, Aerodactyl. Aerodactyl's a good Pokemon. I think it's a slightly overrated Pokemon sometimes, but I like it. I'll put it up here in the B+ category. Fun Pokemon, interesting, needs more color contrast for me. It doesn't look fossil-like, even though it's supposed to be fossil-like with a pterodactyl. So I would like some more color contrast to it. But I love the spiked devil-like tail. And I do like the bat-like wings. And I love that jaw. That jaw just looks like a vicious dinosaur-looking thing. That is cool. I just wish there was some more color contrast for Aerodactyl. That seems to be my biggest critique with a lot of these Pokemon is the color contrast or the color palette choices. But I like Aerodactyl. It's a fun in-game use. Good times with Aerodactyl, B+. Snorlax, there. Let's just take it where it belongs. Snorlax is dope. Snorlax is the boy. You know, Snorlax is the definition of we them boys. Like, I love how rotund and big Snorlax is. I love the idea that it eats almost a ton of food every single day. It's just like this enormous creature. And I do love the storytelling elements that it took almost 20 years for Snorlax to sit up through sprite artwork. Someone, if you have never seen that online, look it up. It's very cool and interesting that it took 20 years to get Snorlax sitting upright. Snorlax is just such a fun, interesting boy. Love Snorlax. Just look at him. Adorable, cute, but he's a big boy. I love Snorlax is great. Articuno. Like Articuno, but it's not a great Pokemon. I'm gonna put Articuno in the honestly in the B category. Yeah, I think that's where I'd put Articuno. I don't get ice from it. I just get blue, kind of majestic-ish bird. The tail is kind of majestic, but the rest of the design isn't cool. Isn't that great? It's a fine, fun design, but I don't get ice from it at all. And since it's the ice type, and it's kind of like the ice type of the game, I wish it gave more than that. So I'm going to go Articuno is a solid B, but nothing that special. Zapdos is by far design-wise the best of the three legendary birds. Zapdos will go up in the A. Actually, I'm going to put it in the A+ category up here. I like Zapdos quite a bit. The spiked angular wings is so much different than all of these other Pokemon designs from the bird perspective, and there's a lot of birds in this generation, or a lot of flying-esque winged Pokemon. just it hits Lightning Thunderbird so well, and that very long, elongated beak is great. Could it use a little bit more color contrast? Sure. But all three of the legendary birds could use some more color contrast. But Zapdos clearly hits its typing while beak. It feels like this enormous, powerful thing. And that's important for a legendary Pokemon. It feels like this enormous, legendary thing. I like that about Zapdos, so Zapdos is an A+. And Moltres, I think Moltres gets a little too much hate, personally. I like Moltres, but I'm also a big fan of the idea of a Phoenix. I'll put Moltres at the B. I'll put it in between these guys. I like Moltres, but it's literally just a bird on fire, and the bird being yellow, the fire was enough. The Galarian Moltres is great because you have the color contrast of the black and that pinkish red flame color. That's enough to take it over the top and be what the original Moltres was. I don't understand why they went with this pale yellow color. I don't know what their obsession with this color was, because they use it in so many Pokemon where they don't have a lot of usage of red, except like Jinx or Spearow's Wing. Like, just look at it. Red is not used as a primary color a lot, and I think that would have helped a lot with Moltres' design to distinguish it. It kind of just flies by the wayside, but Firebird, it is fun and unique and interesting. It does have a little bit of majesty to it. Moltres is a solid B again. Dratini. I like Dratini. I'm going to put Dratini up in the B+ category, mostly because it's adorable. I like Dratini a lot. And it's a perfect little best friend dragon. Again, it hits the friend category a lot. Each Pokemon design is supposed to be able to convince you that it could be your friend. Dratini could be your friend, and I like that. And it doesn't like hit you over the head with dramatic dragon, but it still has enough to be like, oh yeah, it's a dragon, obviously. So I really like that, and I like that pale blue color with the white. Very interesting. Nice job with that. Dragonair. I am an enormous fan of Dragonair. Dragonair is an S+ category for me. I'm a huge Dragonair. Dragonair I adore because that is what I feel is the most majestic dragon type for a long time in the franchise. Winged ears, the jewel of the neck, the serpentine-like body. These were all tremendous ways to go, and a little bit of the horn giving a little bit more of that dragon, and that subtle reddish color vibe of the eye is there. So the color contrast is there. I just love that design. It's such a wonderful, wonderful design and a great play. It looks like a far more majestic, powerful creature than Dratini, but still keeps all the beauty and wonder that Dratini has. S+, Chef's Kiss, love Dragonair. Dragonair is a phenomenal, phenomenal Pokemon. And then there's Dragonite. I'm about to make some people mad. I'm going to put it in a mid B because I like it more than others. I don't know if I even like it as a mid B, though, for what it is. Sure. Middle B territory. It takes all the positives from Dragonair away, and you just get this big, fun, goofy, dumb dragon that looks like it's straight off the Magic School Bus. And I don't like it. I think there was a lot of different ways they could have went to get to Dragonite that could have incorporated its color scheme and the design notes of Dragonite way better and keep Dragonair and Dratini off by themselves, or even a different color palette for Dragonite would have been fine if they would have kept more of those blue hues. Maybe that could have helped too. It's also got an ugly shiny. I don't like Dragonite shiny either. Dragonite's just not meh. It's just meh. It's one of those that like I can't justify it being lower than this, but if it was personally off of just my feelings, like I might have it lower. But then I'd have a lot of these Pokemon just solely based off of my Link's lower, right? Probably. Finally, Mewtwo. Mewtwo's an S. That's obvious. I'm a big Mewtwo fan. I love Mewtwo's interpretation on the Pokemon Adventures manga series. I always plug it, but it's great. Mewtwo is best represented in that manga series. Adore that part of me. I just love how it looks somewhat alien. It looks created by science. That's tremendous. I love the tail of the note there. Um, the little bulbous fingers work because it's more alien-like, and that works for Mewtwo. It doesn't work for other Pokemon. Mewtwo is an S tier Pokemon. What a great Pokemon. What a just tremendously, and it looks powerful. It looks fiendish. I love Mewtwo. And finally, our final Pokemon of the night. And then I'll be able to answer that 10-minute question from my friend about what Pokemon would I cut. Mew again is an S tier Pokemon. I adore Mew. I like Mew even more than I like Mewtwo. I think I like more than him. Yeah, I think that's fair. What I find most endearing about Mew is it's got more of that bubblegum pink color, so it's got more of that endearable traits that like Clary has and Slowpoke has and Jigglypuff has. But design-wise, I adore the helix shape of the tail. I think that's a really, really smart choice. Mostly because if it's truly the source DNA for all these other Pokemon, it's logical that there'd be a helix design to it because of the double helix shape of DNA. So I love that helix shape that Mew's tail has. It also shows a playfulness and a mischievous nature that Mew has. Very, very fun. And it has uniting shapes with Mewtwo, but it's still its own thing. So you can see where one was kind of warped by science and one was just the beauty and wonderful being of nature. So I really like Mew's concept and the execution of both those Pokemon together. Tremendous pairing. Love Mew. Mew is an S tier Pokemon. But that, my friends, is all of our Pokemon from Gen 1 ranked. Woo! Ranked. So in review, we've got 2 F tier, Jinx and Mr. Mime, the worst of the generation, in my opinion. We have 3 D tier, Weepinbell, Eradicate, and Paris. We have our C- tier of Weedle, Ekans, and Golbat. Mew a baby. Mew is a baby, and I love it. Our C tier, Marowak, Arbok, Electrode, Rattata, Dugtrio, Meowth, Lickitung, Spearow, Jigglypuff, and Parasect. Now we're getting into the territory where I cannot name all these because it'll add another hour to my stream. Alrighty though. B- category, 11 in there. I think they all kind of speak for themselves to a degree. They're all kind of but they're not C tier level meh. B tier by far the most. It's kind of, that's where I find most. I'm generally positive on Pokemon, but that's kind of like our mid-range Pokemon there. We have 36, 41 Pokemon together in the B. Almost a third of the entire generation, I would say, is a positive middle tier. That's pretty good for the generation design elements. Right here, we got ourselves 18 B plus Pokemon, highlighted, I think, by Starmie, probably, personally. Starmie and a lot of people would say Charmander need to be higher, but I would disagree with that. Obviously, because that's how I did it. 21 A Pokemon. That's pretty crazy. And we have A tier with 21 Pokemon. Just a lot of fun Pokemon here. A plus category 13. 13 for S, which says a lot. And we have 9 S plus tier Pokemon. That is insane. Insane. I love that for this franchise. Now, Angie, would you still like me to answer that question, my friend? If I had to eliminate one from existence from each tier, I can still do that. I can give you that. Shall we or shall we not? 5-10 seconds before I just make the decision. Actually, I'm just gonna do it because I said I would do it, so I'm gonna do it. this is gonna sound crazy. For personal preferences alone, no other reasons, because I like all these other Pokemon so much. I'm gonna get rid of Pikachu from the S plus tier. That'll make a lot of people mad. I don't care. I like Pikachu a lot. That's why it's an S plus tier Pokemon. But alas, I like too many possibilities with EV. Dragonair's far too majestic, and like OG Dragon, love Ninetales, Snorlax, Psyduck's my boy. Arcanine greatest Pokemon of all time. Ivysaur, too important from a starter line perspective, and I love Ivysaur. Got to keep those, so Pikachu's the one to go. S tier. Who do I erase from this group? This one's tough. Oh my gosh. Guess Clefairy? Does the game really get affected if Clefairy's gone? I love how I'm taking the two logical choices for a mascot out of commission. I just have so much more affection for these other Pokemon, and it's purely personal preference. Would have liked you to, but also it's been over 3 hours. If you just want to finish it. Nah, we're gonna finish this by eliminating friends. So, I'm gonna eliminate Clefairy from the S tier solely because I think it affects the game the least. It weighs positive because I think you need more of those derpy fun Pokemon like Slowpoke. However, Slowpoke or Magikarp might be other ones. I even thought about Oddish, but I like Oddish way. And I could understand people arguing Farfetch. I personally would get rid of Fairy before I get rid of Farfetch, but I love Farfetch. A plus Eliminator. Clefairy is not the one you expected from. What did you expect me to go with from the S tier? I can understand people thinking Wartortle, but I think Wartortle again is too important to that starter line. A plus territory. What do I eliminate? This is the toughest. This is really the toughest, I think. One doesn't stick out because they're a little bit more even. Ooh, hurtful. From solely this line of A plus Pokemon. Alakazam. I just love Seadra way too much. I think Alakazam, it's a cheat code. You could do Mega Alakazam, but then that would be kind of a different Pokemon. I think that one's this too dead even of a hit for me. I thought about Kadabra too, but I like Kadabra a lot. Even thought about our fire starter line, but we're not going to talk about that. Because I couldn't get rid of Mankey. Couldn't get rid of Mankey, man. Mankey's too much fun. A tier. Raichu. I'm getting rid of Raichu. Maybe not. Let me think about that. Yeah, Kadabra is a lot cooler than Alakazam in a lot of ways. I think, dude, Kadabra's it's just a vibe. Just a vibe. Actually, now rethinking what I just said, I won't say Raichu right off the bat. Theoretically, we'd be eliminating all of them then, and that's a problem. In this weird magical world that doesn't exist when we go to these kinds of things, let's say I will get rid of screw it. I'm getting rid of Gengar. Holding back the outrage of the internet. I say that because I think Haunter is a superior Pokemon. I don't think Gengar needs to be there. I think Haunter is better than Gengar in every way possible. I adore Haunter way more than I do Gengar, and Gengar, I understand that's a crazy answer. I also thought about Slowbro, because I don't think Slowbro is really necessary. Actually, yeah. Fake Halloween fan. Oh wow, that's hurtful. So my three choices that I'm thinking of immediately are four. I thought Gengar, Raichu, Slowbro, and Clefable. Now that I think about it, there's too much character in Gengar. I'll take Slowbro off. Next, you're gonna say you don't even like wearing shorts. No, I'll wear shorts for the rest of my life. Um, Actually, I'm gonna revise my answer. I stand by everything I said about Gengar, in that Haunter is better, and I will stand by that for all of eternity. However, I think of the most needless is Slowbro, because I think Slowpoke could kind of just be its fun little own derpy self. Because Slowbro's not a highlight. It's just not. So yeah, I'm gonna revise my answer. I stand by the statements as to why I was gonna go with Gengar, but I'm gonna go Slowbro, axed, from the A tier. B plus tier. Let's go with Poliwrath. I'll go with Poliwrath. Um, it's just kind of a beefier version of Poliwhirl. I like all these Pokemon still, which is why it's hard. It's hard to get rid of a small starter. Um, so I'll go with Poliwrath out of the B plus category. I think the fairest one to do. There, I think I would. I think a lot of people would go, "Oh, Metapod or Kakuna," but I think they're too. I think they're too important to the metamorphosis idea of evolution in Pokemon and of their lines. B category. A lot of these Pokemon could go the way of the Dodo. This is where it becomes easier from a getting rid of standpoint, harder from what do I get rid of. Only because I like Omanite. Omastar would be on the table. Ooh, I'm just looking it over. I don't know what else is on the table. Executor, maybe? Graveler, I can see. Gravdon, ease. Uh, you know what? Maybe Graveler is expendable too. I also think Onyx is kind of expendable. Actually, that's a lie. I know what I want to get rid of automatically because of my already thoughts. Dragonite, gone. Bye. No apologies. I don't care. Dragonite is subpar to Dragonair. I don't actually like Dragonite that much. So for me personally, it wouldn't hurt me at all if Dragonite didn't exist. Goodbye, Dragonite. B minus category. Yeah, I think it's between Seaking or Tauros. Nidorena's kind of like the whole Nidoran lines are kind of like running through there. Actually, I'll think of it from an evolutionary standpoint. Let's get rid of Hypno. Dragonite is better than at least 75% of my view tier list. I understand a lot of people like Dragonite. I think it's a really big departure in a bad way from Dragonair. It's easy for me to say goodbye to. Let's go with B minus. Let's say Hypno. I think Drowsy's far better. Drowsy could kind of exist on its own. Could give some way to a new evolution instead. Hypno, goodbye. C. Wow. What do I go with C? Wigglytuff. Wigglytuff doesn't need to exist. The other ones are unique enough or do something different enough that Wigglytuff doesn't need to exist. I would highly think of Marowak. However, I wouldn't have Alolan Marowak win, and that hurts. It doesn't have to be a departure from Dragon if you're just poof Dragonair and Dratini instead. But yeah, I mean, Dragonair's so cool and Dragonite's not. Going back to the B. C though, yeah. I think Wigglytuff is the one to go. C minus, Golbat. Or Weedle. One of the two. Um, or even Ekans. All three of them are expendable. I'll go Golbat. Golbat can go. I think there could be better things for it. Even Crobat is a better evolution from Zubat to Crobat. So let's just get rid of Golbat, I guess. D tier. Which one do I like the least? That's really what it's coming down to. Uh, I'd rather have Paris redone than go away. Raticate's just kind of like, why are you there? But Weeping Bell is just the lips, and it's such a weird design in a bad way. I wouldn't. It'd make no sense, but it'd be quite the departure from Bellsprout to Victory Bell. I'll say Weeping Bell, I guess. Um, don't like Paris. Paris sucks. So yeah, Weeping Bell, D. And Weeping Bell will go the way of the dodo. And in a special thing for fans, both Jinx and Mr. Mime go away. They both need to get got. If you force me to pick one, I will go with. Oh, this hurts because I hate Mr. Mime the most. But there's so many bad connotations with Jinx. And now it's questioning my character. I'll stay with my social morals. Jinx will go the way of the dodo if I have to only pick one. But if it was my choice, I'd get rid of both of them. I don't like them. They need to go the way of the dodo. They need to go bye. I love that. What does Evan hate more, racism or clowns? I hate racism more than clowns, obviously, because one of my favorite characters of all time is a clown. It's Joker. But Mr. Mime is just so weird and creepy and predatory and just gross. But I gotta stick with racism's not cool, so Jinx has to go the way of the dodo. It kind of got like a hair fixed, and I was like, how can I complain about that and put it as an F tier after it got slightly fixed, but then also be like, yeah, but they kind of fixed it, and I hate Mr. Mime that much, so I'll get rid of Jinx. I'll get rid of Mr. Mime instead. So if I have to pick one, Jinx goes, but I would prefer that they both go away. But that is going to do it for our tier list here, my friends. Here's a quick recap for you. I'll scroll slowly so you guys can kind of see where we are at. That is the final rankings and eliminations per the questions in the stream. I have had a fun time doing this. It's been really fun with everybody here. Help out in the chat feature. That helps a lot. Share this wherever you can. If you want to join my Discord server, I did pin that to the top of the chat, but I will do that one more time here, friends. So I will paste that bad boy here. If anyone wants to, Discord invite is right there. Also, please check out my YouTube channel. This video will be broken up onto YouTube, which is another reason I was taking those breaks to help myself editing wise as well. So you can find this on YouTube along with all of my other content, including brand new Pokemon for you, some of which you can see on the overlay of my stream. But once again, thank you so much. I will always take extra time to answer your questions. I love you guys so much. Thank you for watching, and I will catch you on the flip side. Peace.